San Diego.
You know, from day one, we laid it out there every day.
After a quick exit from the MLB playoffs, the Padres have to answer some hard questions.
Speculation runs wild, and we look for clarity.
Plus, the Scarlet and Black open up Mountain West play tonight versus Colorado State. Friar, uncertainty, and Friday Night Lights.
Let's light the fusion.
All live from the San Diego Sports 760 studios with Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour one, Jon and Jim here until Aztec pregame coverage at 5:30. And Kevin Acee swings by in 28 minutes to react to it all. We'll get into this week in the NFL and college as well with Greg Camarillo, former NFL receiver, and Chris Hajj will have free picks for us coming up at 4:30. Couldn't connect with Chris yesterday with the Padres playing game 3. It's the day that comes every single year for every single team. Even the World Series champ, like you have to turn a page at some point. Unfortunately, in San Diego, we turned the page after yesterday. And you're in that like weird spot, Jim, where you're like, do you do the autopsy on the season? Do you look ahead? Do you stay where you were yesterday and just continue to hammer it away? What went wrong? How did this happen again? Just like 2024. We can speculate on AJ Preller's future, and Kevin will join us at 2:30. But it's just like you got 174 long days until next year. So the bitter reality sets in when you lose in the manner in which you've lost, not once, but twice, back-to-back years in almost identical fashion. And you got 174 days to rehash what went wrong and look ahead and maybe get back there 1 year from now. It's just, I don't know, like reality sets in, and it's kind of cruel the way it works. And another season with a disappointing ending for the San Diego Padres.
Yeah, the breaking down of the game yesterday, I feel like we went in pretty good depth of what happened, you know, during yesterday's show and the wrap-up show. Today kind of feels like a picking up of the pieces day, where kind of realizing still what happened and getting over the shock, but then I guess trying to move on, right? I mean, I can sit here and I blame Manny Machado. I could say Fernando Tatis Jr. sucked and Luis Ariz was awful, and the entire season was not that enjoyable, to be honest with you. I mean, I know they won 90 games, but did anybody have like a fun time watching this team this season? I feel like there were moments here and there for sure. Don't get me wrong. You get to 90 wins, you got to win some games, and winning games is fun. But over the course of the year, there was a lot of angst and, you know, issues with this team and annoyance with the manager being as stubborn as he was, and, you know, star players not performing to their best of their abilities. And, you know, it just kind of felt like this season, even though on paper, on the surface, 90 wins, postseason appearance, back-to-back years. I don't know, man. It didn't feel like that. And maybe that's just because this team just got eliminated yesterday, right? Living in the moment. Everyone's still upset. Everyone feels it. But I feel like I'm going to feel that way even a couple weeks from now. And I feel like Padres fans are going to feel that way a couple weeks from now and heading into next year as well.
The bitter pill for me, I think it's well stated. The bitter pill for me is like, we went into yesterday, Jim. We were sitting here. We were even on the air for about 10 minutes before the game started. And I honestly didn't believe that it would play out just like last year's Game 5 against the Dodgers. Now, it was a little bit different, and what they did there in the ninth inning only got your hopes up only to be crushed. But the fact that we spent a year talking about the way they went out last year, and then they go out in near identical fashion.
Right.
And honestly, how do you even address that? Like, what could you possibly do to be like, next time we're in a decisive game, we're going to score 5 runs? How could you even say? You could go at Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper and Shohei Ohtani, and I'm still thinking the same thing, which is they can't score when the season's on the line. When all the marbles are on the table is when they get tight, and it happened again.
Yeah, it's not like football. Like, hey, next time we'll make a better play call. Like, you know, next time we won't have the safety blitz.
I mean, and it's like you rehash it immediately. And Manny's like, hey, we got to be better. And Toddy's like, my approach wasn't good. I'm like, but that's what we said a year ago. So how does it change a year from now? And that's the part of it where you're like, you can't get stuck in the past so much where you're like, they're never going to win a playoff series again. And Manny's never going to win with San Diego and Tatis. I think they can win again. The pieces will be picked up. But man, it becomes such a mental hurdle. I thought this year was a mental hurdle for them. I talked about the Dodgers all year long. The Dodgers are in the Padres' head. They didn't play well against them in the regular season. And then I feel like in the postseason, last year's postseason was in their head. I really felt that. And they scored, 5 runs in 3 games? They did nothing on offense in the postseason.
Again.
And I don't know what you're going to do to address that in 2026.
Yeah, this isn't like a strategy thing.
No, it's not. I mean, is it bunting? They just didn't hit.
Yeah, I mean,
what did Tatis say yesterday? We have the sound.
We have to effing hit, And he said the same thing last year. Team, it's the same song and dance.
Yeah,
and that's the frustrating part about baseball is there's no strategy to do things different next time. I mean, approaches at the plate can obviously change, right? Like Fernando Tatis Jr., his approach in this series was piss poor, awful, everything. Any bad word you could use to describe Tatis's approach to the plate, that's what it was this series. And I could say that for a lot of his season as well. Like just not a good year from Fernando Tatis Jr. Sorry. I mean, we're both in agreement on that. The numbers are the numbers, and you people are looking at it and saying, oh, no, he had a good season. And you'll hear Mike Schultz blow smoke up his ass about how great Tatis was this year. Sorry, wasn't a good year. And the ending of it was kind of a little bit of a microcosm of his entire season. Just pouting, lethargic, bad plate appearances. He had a good game too, but didn't do enough in the end. Same thing with Manny. Didn't do enough. He had one swing this series. That was it. One swing. It was a big swing. But that's it. Luis Arraez, nada. And I don't know how you address what you do because these guys aren't going anywhere. I mean, Arraez is gone, but what are you going to do to address the fact that Manny Machado shrinks in the postseason? What are you going to do to address the fact that Fernando Tatis Jr. is not the same player that he was? What are you going to do to address the fact that this team, when the lights are the brightest, they shrink as a collective bunch? I don't know how you change it.
Yeah, and by the way, it's not just us saying it. We have Manny Machado postgame, right, Brent? I mean, it's not. We're being critical, but they're being more critical than we are. And by the way, if you can't hit like a Jameson Taillon type pitcher, they didn't even face Cade Horton.
Jameson Taillon just mowed this team down through 4 innings.
You can't be like, well, last year they faced Yamamoto and Flaherty, and this year every year you're going to face good pitching.
Tariq Skubal in Game 3. It's like, well, okay.
That's basically what baseball is in the postseason. You're going to have to hit good pitching, and the Padres routinely have been unable to do so. It's not just us saying it's disappointing, and I think it's completely fair to be critical on a day like today. Listen to Manny Machado, this back and forth yesterday postgame in the locker room.
I know it just ended, but how do you assess a season like this?
I mean, what type of question is that, dude? My guy. How do I assess the season? We just lost. How do you think I assess the season? How do you think I assess it?
I don't know. That's what I was asking.
You tell me. What's a loss? We lost. How do you assess it? It's a loss. You lost. Come on, dude. I mean, you could ask better questions than that. Let's go. Come on.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Last second to ask that question. No better than that.
All right, I'm gonna actually surprise you on this one. I'm gonna give Manny a little benefit of the doubt here with that part of the interview because that is the one thing that is going around social media right now. And I thought it was a completely fair question, by the way, just to put that out there. I think that clip alone going out there on social media and making the rounds, a little out of context for me, just because if you listen to his entire post-game press conference, he took the blame. He said it was his fault. He needed to be better.
Well, he did it there too. That was the point of playing it. That's him saying it was a failure. That's me agreeing with Manny. I'm saying the same thing.
I'm just pointing out there's a lot of people online because a lot of people don't like Manny Machado calling him a lot of different names today because of that response to Jake's question. But at the same time, if you listen to the entirety of the post-game comments made by Manny, he said it was his fault. He took blame and he needed to be better. And again, it's frustrating because heard that before from Manny and what's going to change, but
at least he's being honest.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I wanted to play that was because I think Manny's going harder on himself than a lot of fans are going on the Padres. Like that to me is brutal honesty. That's transparency. To me, that's not That's not out of context. That's Manny criticizing the performance of the team, which I think is fair. Like it's a zero sum. You hear us say that. It's not about making the postseason for the 2025 San Diego Padres. That's where AJ Preller comes into the conversation. That's where John Seidler comes in. That's where everyone is accountable. Like fall out of bed postseason was the expectation. You got Mason Miller and Baltimore's lineup at the deadline. You were like, maybe we'll make the playoffs. I mean, they were always going to make the playoffs. They were 14-3. In what world were they not going to make the postseason when every team makes the postseason? What do you do from there? And that's the disappointment and that's the failure. And I agree with him. I completely agree with him. And I'm honestly glad. I don't like the way he reacted there to Jake's question specifically, maybe made it personal, but his overall tenor and sentiment, I agree with. We failed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he said, I'll put the blame on me. I should have been better. And, yeah. I mean, it's good. I'm glad he at least acknowledged he was once again awful. But at some point, it becomes white noise with fans.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, great, Manny. What are you going to do to fix it? Like same thing with Toddy. It's like, okay, great. It feels like when these guys say these things, which, credit to them, they're taking the blame, but it does feel a little bit like white noise because it happens way too much with these guys. And we're not just dealing with like one postseason series. I mean, this is a pretty good sample size here now. So, yeah. And, there's other comments that Manny had that I thought were pretty interesting regarding, management and payroll that we can listen to later in the show, which it's going to be a topic of conversation in the offseason for sure. But yeah, dude, I mean, I'm sitting here today after we dissected the game at nauseam last night, and you're just sitting here and you're wondering to yourself, how do they get better? How do they get over this hump? How do they not shrink again in the postseason? And there's no answer right now, because if it was that simple, then everybody would have an answer for it, including them.
Yeah, I said at the end of last season, this felt like a best chance. And it feels even more like that a year later. It feels like they were closer last year than they are right now. And we'll see if they can get closer in 2026 or if they're going to be further away a year from now. All right, we'll hear from Fernando Tatis Jr. On the other side, Kevin Acee joins us in 15 minutes. His thoughts on 2025 and the beginning of a long offseason for the Padres. Jon Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Kevin Acee will join us coming up in about 10 minutes. We're reacting to, well, the season that ends for the Padres and the long offseason beginning. We also have Chris Hajj with free picks coming up at 4:30. Aztecs pregame at 5:30. Fernando Tatis Jr. was as blunt as Manny Machado. We have that, Brent, right? Referenced it earlier. This was the back and forth with Toddy.
What did you guys need to do more offensively?
Hit. Just hit.
Sums it up.
But again, to your point, they said the same thing last year.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. It's very shallow.
Yeah, it's white noise, dude. It's in one ear and out the other. With the fan base, with us, like it's the same song and dance, dude. Same song and dance. And you make the NLCS in 2022. You make the division series last year. You make the wild card series this year. Like you're supposed to be getting further in the postseason.
Ideally, yeah. I mean, nice.
And we don't know like what this team is going to look like. You felt like this kind of was a little bit of the last ride with especially this group of players, right? And now there are so many questions heading into next year. And if they make the postseason again, I mean, one, that'd be incredible. 3 straight years in a row, never happened in franchise history before. Is anybody going to sit there and be like, things are going to be different? I'm not. I'll be sitting there thinking to myself,
here we go again.
Here we go again. And in the first, if next year they make the postseason and it's like the 4th inning of game 1 and they're scoreless with 1 hit, it's like, there we go. Here's the offense, I mean, it sucks to say something as clear as this, that like the team was last year's team. It was, yeah.
That doesn't mean they'll never have a team again that can be in a situation. But like, think about the headwinds. Unfortunately, we're post Peters ownership. Unfortunately, the Dodgers aren't going to win 90 games every year. They're going to win 100 games every year.
Right.
So like your payroll, we don't know which direction it's heading in. We don't know who's the general manager of this team now and moving forward. Like there's all these questions. I mean, you're losing when you think about your staff. Dylan Cease and Michael King heading into the year were the staff. Dylan Cease and Michael King.
And one was injured because he slept wrong. Yeah. And the other had a bad year.
Which sucked, and they still made the postseason. But like when you think about heading into a 2026 without Dylan Cease and Michael King, and now you've got Joe Musgrove off Tommy John, and Nick Pivetta was awesome. But like this, just to your point, it's like you go to a wedding. You'll never get the same group of people ever together in any capacity ever again the rest of your life. There's never been a wedding where the same exact group of people get together again ever in the history of mankind, by and large. Cease, King, Arise. We're just scratching surfaces. There'll be moves. Jay Cronenworth, who knows? But yeah, now you attack it from a different lens and a different way. And I just think it does feel like it's getting harder. I think they'll likely be favored to be a postseason caliber team next year. But what does that do for us? I mean, that doesn't mean they're likely going to be favored to be a World Series caliber winner. That's how I look at it. My guess is they'll position themselves to hang around to be a postseason caliber team. But we're waiting a year to say the same things. Are they going to score? Are they going to score this time around in the postseason?
Because what this core has proven is that they can get this team to the postseason on a pretty consistent basis. 3 of the last 4, 4 to the last 6. Like, it's pretty consistent.
I agree.
Problem is, it's not with the standards of this franchise now. It's just not good enough to just get there.
Mm-hmm. And
especially this year, getting there and not having one home playoff game after selling out 72 games at Petco, I think that is, I mean, yes, losing is awful for this franchise in the postseason and especially the fans, but I bet you there's a lot of people in the organization right now that are equally as upset that there wasn't even one postseason game at Petco this year because the fans don't get rewarded. The team especially doesn't get rewarded with the playoff gate. And I mean, let's be real here. This team isn't like rolling in money. That playoff gate, that was a big chunk of money that they could use.
Yeah, look at it this way. Last year, they spent no money in the offseason. You know what I mean? By and large, they didn't have some big spend. Nick Pivetta cost them like $1 million. And
it happened on February 12th.
They had 4 home playoff games. Think about the revenue associated with 4 home playoff games last year, and they still didn't spend. Now, are they going to spend because King, Cease, Arise, Hosmer dead money comes off the books? Maybe. Machado's going to make more money. But is there going to be some money there? Yeah, there is. But we haven't heard from John Seiler. Who knows if we will? We never have heard from John Seiler.
I've never heard from John Seiler. Like,
when we'll hear from AJ Preller at some point, post-mortem, the obituary on the season, assuming AJ Preller returns. Kevin Acee told us, I think on Monday, not really a story. His reporting suggests that AJ Preller will be back. Has that changed now that they just lost 2 out of 3 games in Chicago at Wrigley Field or not? And I think if it does change, I don't think this is something that plays out for an entire offseason. I think it plays out in the days and weeks ahead. But I'd like some clarity just to know, like, is it going to be AJ Preller? I'd like to hear from other John Seiler or AJ Preller about what's next as they turn the page on 2025 and look ahead.
Yeah, if there's a move and if there's a change, it has to happen quickly.
It's not post-winter meetings.
Right, because you have, the GM meetings, the owners meetings, and
all
the
that
winter meetings, and you got to get ready for the upcoming season. Like, we'll find out pretty quickly, and it will happen this month if they make a change and where they go next, which we've said we don't want that. We don't want that. I feel like it would be a massive mistake if they did. But yeah, with the expectation that this team has and franchise has now set for themselves, just making postseasons isn't good enough anymore. We aren't in the 2010s. We aren't even in the early 2000s, right? If you're talking about this team making the postseason in the 2010s, it'd have been like there'd be a banner up for that team, right?
Right.
But we are in a different era of Padres baseball. We are in an era where there are expectations because of the amount of money they've spent, the players they have, the trades they've made. It's pretty much like, I'm not going to say World Series or bust, but it feels like, hey, if we're not making deep postseason runs, the seasons that we have, even if we make the postseason, can't look at it as like a super successful year. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it feels to me like it's a little bit of a bust if Manny Machado in his tenure with the Padres doesn't appear in a World Series.
That's why you got him.
Yeah, the whole point was to win at the highest level.
You didn't get him to just make postseasons. Now, you got him to help you get to postseasons, but you also got him to, once you get to the postseason, help you get to a World Series and win one. That's why you got Manny Machado. So anybody out there that thinks that, we're being maybe too critical and harsh on this team for quote unquote just making postseason appearances when the franchise isn't known for doing that a lot. Sorry, the expectations changed. They've said it. And if they say it, you gotta hold them that standard.
We can say it too. Kevin Acee, his thoughts. He was at Wrigley the last 3 games. The offseason begins, not just for the Padres, but for their beat writer for the UT. Kevin Acee will join us on the other side. This is Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by King's Hawaiian Sliders. Padres season is officially over. Cubs are moving on to the NLDS, where they will take on the Milwaukee Brewers, Dodgers, and Padres, the other series in the NLDS. ALDS is also set. Yankees, they're the first team in the new wild card era to lose game one in advance. They're going to be taking on the Blue Jays in the ALDS, Tigers and Mariners, the other series in the AL. And tonight, San Diego State takes on Colorado State at Snapdragon Stadium. 5:30 is when our pregame coverage starts. 7:30 kickoff time. You can listen to John and Rich on the call right here on San Diego Sports 760. Eli Manning reminds you there's nothing like football and King's Hawaiian Sliders. There's something about those soft, fluffy, irresistible King's Hawaiian Sliders that make them a winner on game day. Pick them up this weekend in the bakery or deli section of your grocery store. King's Hawaiian, there's nothing like it.
All right, there's two seasons when you cover baseball, the season and the offseason, and the offseason begins for Kevin Acee as well. Our Padres insider, of course, he covers the Padres beat for the San Diego Union Tribune. Kevin, great reporting as always all season long, and now that it's done, I think I might ask you this on Monday, but I have to ask it again. Your reporting, does it suggest that AJ Preller returns in 2026 as the Padres GM?
Yes, something absolutely sensational would have to happen. I mean, after every year, you have meetings, you sit down, you go over, what coaches are coming back? What can we do better? Hey, here's where I'd like to communicate better, do this or whatever. Something would have to go insanely sideways for AJ Preller to not be back.
Okay, well, let's go to now the series and this team. When you look at it, it feels like same old with the team in the regular season. It reared its ugly head in the postseason. Me and John were talking about the start of the show. I mean, these players are taking accountability, but it's the same thing they said last year. So we're sitting here like, this isn't football. There's no strategy in this. It's like, hey, we got to be better. Okay, how do you be better? Like, how does this team be better? I mean, the star players, once again, don't show up in the biggest moments.
That is true, and it's a little bit of a theme. I mean, it is, and that's a problem, especially since they're all going to be here for a while. So I don't know how to fix that. That's got to be internal, and then there also has to be the realization maybe it won't be fixed, or it will be fixed by one guy but not the other. So there's that. They've got to add some pop. Home runs win in the postseason. It was a problem all season. I gave them credit, even though they had the fewest homers of any playoff team. They had, I think, the second or third worst runners in scoring position average of any of the postseason teams. They had been better in both areas, and they had fared well enough and done well enough against good teams and good pitchers. And I've said, okay, they can do this. They can piece together this against the Cubs, against the Brewers. They didn't. This was, and I wrote it. Last year when they went 24 scoreless innings at the end, that was surprising. That was better offense. That had never happened during the regular season. This was a manifestation of what we worried would happen and what we watched happen all season. This was not surprising.
Doesn't it feel like Kevin Acee is our Padres insider? I probably said this at the end of last year. I'm like, we're going to do the same song and dance. We're going to wait 12 months, and we're going to see if they can overcome the hurdle they couldn't overcome at the end of their season in 2024. Doesn't it feel like this almost becomes more of a mental hurdle? Like the game of baseball is so mental, and now you head into 2026 that even if you get into the postseason, the exact same conversation follows this team, right? That in these huge moments, are they going to be able to come through? And it feels like some of this was like a mental burden that they were carrying with them over the last couple of days.
Sure, but the Dodgers didn't do squat for a decade after making the playoffs. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, yes, fair. I'm not. You can be onto something, but like, you don't do it until you do it, right? No team had come back in this era. I just heard Jim say it, right? Until the Yankees after losing game one of Wild Card Series, they did it. Okay, there we go. So I also think that, look, there are shifts within the culture of an organization. There are additions that are made. There are players that come into their own and become more of kind of the leader. There are, different guys have different good seasons. Look, I think there's a lot of challenges ahead, but I think there's a lot to feel good about this team. But to me, if you want to point out the big thing, I think it's the first thing that you said. And we say it during the regular season, and then it shows up huge in the postseason, especially in a short series, when the stars don't do it. And Manny Machado, look, he had a home run that basically sealed that game, right? Like they could have won 1-0 in that game, but 3-0 with the way that their bullpen is. That Manny gets I don't know if he gets a pass, but that was good, right? Fernando Tatis, horrible, just absolutely horrible. There's no way around it. If he was telling the truth yesterday, then he knows it too. So, but he hasn't been that guy. Maybe a few home runs at the end of the season, but were those really big moment home runs? The team was headed to the playoffs, but he knows he's got to be better, and not just like the power. There's got to be games he doesn't take off, and there's got to be games where he makes adjustments. He showed early in the season he could do. Last night was just horrible. The series wasn't great. When he did get on base, he scored, so that was good. But this is a team that is dependent on those guys. I think Ramon Laureano will be good for this team over the course of the season. Jackson Merrill healthy will be good for this team over the course of the season, and maybe in next year's playoffs if they make it. So I think they can overcome that.
What was the deal with Toddy this year? I mean, I know that you said I think last time with us, or I forget when it was, and Tatis was voted the MVP of this team. Played, mostly every day. Defensively, he was amazing, but his attitude, his offense, it just felt like there was something off with him this entire year.
Yeah, it got a little rough, didn't it? And then maybe it snowballed, and he's, this is not an excuse. He's human. Now, sometimes these guys, and one of the responsibilities when you're making $20 million and you've decided that you're going to take the statue contract, is that you don't get to act as human, okay? So there's a responsibility there. I hope you know what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be insensitive to him and whatever might be going on off the field or the struggles of being a star who's not performing. I don't mean to be insensitive to that because that's real. I've always been empathetic to that because that is a real thing. But dude, you owe this team better. That is something that has to be something that changes. The team does feed off of him, and he's got to be better. Both his performance, more consistent. I believe he used the word yesterday. I'm not sure. But more consistent, because he is a special player, and I know for a fact that the Padres have not lost faith in that. They believe that this is up to Fernando Tatis Jr., that he can still be that guy, and there can be statue, and there can be Hall of Fame numbers. That's up to Fernando Tatis Jr. You know what? 27. Is that December 31st or January 1st or 2nd, right after the turn of the year. So going into next season, 27. Now we're starting to get to serious middle of the prime, and not all that long until we're talking about him being in his 30s. Now's the time. This has to be a reckoning for Fernando Tatis Jr. I don't mean to be dramatic, but that's the type of player he is. And so you pair that Tatis, the Tatis he can be, with Merrill, who I think you can look back on this season and feel good about Merrill. You can. For all that he went through and the struggles, I think that you can look back and say, okay, all right, we weren't wrong. He still has a lot to prove, but now you've got two stars at the middle for the fading or potentially fading older guys you have, and then Ramon Laureano, and they have to go get another bat, first base or DH. Have to.
All right, Kevin Acee is our Padres insider, is with us right now on Jon and Jim. So among your orders of business is to get a bat. They're obviously there's going to be a lot of payroll freed up here. Where do you list these priorities this offseason? Clearly, Dylan Cease, Michael King, Luis Ariz. I mean, there's going to be so much movement here. What are some of the first orders of business for AJ Preller this offseason?
Well, they'll all happen with AJ in February. So first orders of business. I don't know what those are, but like, to me, the pitching's a given, right? Like, you need a couple starters. What's Yu Darvish going to do? Even if Yu Darvish comes back, how many games is he going to pitch? And so you need 2-3 starters, right? I think it's nice. Hey, I got faith in Joe Musgrove. Randy Vasquez, nice number 3. I'm talking about, and then obviously Pivetta. I'm talking about get yourself a 2, a 3, a 4, like, but that's like a given. So to me, the bat, and I'm talking home run hitter. I'm talking a guy that can slug. I don't know what you're not going out and get Pete Alonso. I doubt that. But you've got to, and it's AJ Preller. That's his job, and he's good at it. So find someone.
Why? I guess, this is obviously revisionist, and you look at this and it's hindsight here now. They chose Yu Darvish over Michael King for game 3, and we saw Michael King pitch beautifully out of the bullpen. 19 pitches, struck out the side. Darvish obviously not good at all. Was there anything there with King, with the health or anything, or was it just a simple, like, we felt better with Darvish there in game 3 over Michael King? Like, was there anything there why they went Darvish over King?
King's consistency, evidently, not to, like, we all didn't necessarily notice it or think like this was such an issue that it should have been him. I mean, I was saying all day to anyone that would listen, I was very concerned about Darvish. Now, it didn't get as bad as it could have, right? Like, they actually survived that pretty well for as bad as it was. They survived Darvish pretty well. Now, it put them in the real pickle with having to cover 8 innings, and it put Jeremiah Stroud in a pickle. But, like, I was thinking, like, the guy could give up 3 runs in the first or something like that. But I'm with you. I didn't see it. They didn't think that King had the consistency of the delivery and the command, and that he could really have gotten in trouble as well. And I guess we'll never know since he pitched 1 inning. And I don't have an answer for you. Sorry. I couldn't be in 3 places at once yesterday, and I don't have an answer for you why King only pitched 1 inning. That, to me, is one of the things. I think it's down the list, but I don't understand how that happened yesterday.
Do you think Yu Darvish has pitched his last pitch in the major leagues?
I think it's extremely possible, and I thought that this was the final. I thought it was very possible this was the final year since spring training. I don't think anything changed that. I think it speaks volumes that Yu has never, in the last 3 weeks, when asked about, when asked leading questions, has never balked at, the idea that this could be it. No one is saying that it's it, but I mean, for a year now, people that know have acknowledged that it could be any time. Look, even if he comes back, are we talking 15 starts again? At this point, and this is educated speculation. This is not anyone telling me this. I'd put the money on it, on his career being over. But here's the deal. The guy loves baseball. Maybe they worked out something. I don't know. But that, because no one can expect that he's going to give you 25 starts anymore. So maybe they worked out something. I don't know. But, yeah, it's something that it's one of these storylines of the offseason, because both what he can give you for however long he could give you, if he can find a way to, repeat and be the same pitcher for more than 1 inning, but also $16 million and, of course, the 48 over 3 years.
Final one for me, Kevin. The culture, this is on Mike Shildt. The culture that he has created. Yes, 90 wins consistently, making the postseason. That is great. There's no denying that. Past Padres teams would love to make the postseason in back-to-back years. But there is a stubbornness. There is a culture of, at least publicly to the fans and to the media, of not much accountability when guys are struggling. Is there need for changing this culture that Mike Shildt has created, where it just feels like, the Arise issue with him in the 2-hole all year long just never got addressed? The stubbornness of Mike Shildt to change things when things are going wrong. The stubbornness of Mike Shildt to not maybe hold guys accountable. Did you think that needs to change?
I would ask some questions and I will try to answer it as well as I can. I know we're in limited time here. I'm just wondering, I think I know, but this is a loaded question for me. You must understand this, both because I'm working on this myself, and also you're asking me to like call out certain people. You mean like he needed Tatis to do something? He needed Manny to do something. These types of things, he should have been more accountable, or he should have held them more accountable. In addition to his stubbornness, is that what we're talking about?
A little bit from the standpoint, like I remember earlier in the year, he was asked a question about Toddy or Manny when they were struggling, and he just was like, everything's fine. Like, and it's like everyone rolls their eyes, and you're like, Mike, what are you watching here? And then the stubbornness of not changing the lineup.
I always want to caution that everything is addressed to some extent. I'm not saying it's adequate. I don't, some I hear and some I don't, but everything's addressed privately. Mike is simply not going to, and there's very few people in the world more frustrated by it, because I see what other managers are able to do to give the media and fans some information without betraying their players or their organization's aim. And Mike is incapable of it, and it's infuriating to me, but I mean, let's get over it, okay? It doesn't mean that Mike isn't holding guys accountable. On the other hand, yes, I believe, and this is based on discussions with people, there does need to be more. And also, I believe that some of that falls on the players. This is a player's game.
Yeah.
It's a player's game. Manager, Mike probably makes, I don't know exactly. I'm thinking based on what I knew that he made and all this where he falls in, no more than $2 million, which is 1/15 of what Manny Machado makes. This is a player's game. Manny and some others. This is on them. There needs to be that accountability as well. And there needs to be that. And maybe there's some guys in that clubhouse that are about to do that. I don't know. We'll see. But it's not like there's days of like, he's not Earl Weaver. He's not Billy Martin. He's not Joe Torre even. Like, how about we take a look at the players?
Good luck.
I'm not saying Mike Shield. I'm not exonerating him, but take a look at the players.
Players don't change. Kevin, we appreciate all the reporting all season long. Great job. Thank you so much for hopping on as often as you have here on Jon and Jim. Take a vacation, please. Do something for yourself.
All right. Well, thanks for that. Thanks for that freedom, and happy Aztec season to you.
We appreciate that. Thanks Kevin. Great stuff from Kevin Acee. Our Padres Insider brought to you by the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. We react next. All right, Jon and Jim, Greg Camarillo, NFL receiver, NBC 7, football night in San Diego. He'll join us at 4 p.m. Chris Hajj, free picks for our listeners coming up at 4:30, Aztec pregame at 5:30. What'd you make there? I mean, first of all, Kevin now twice in 1 week has completely downplayed any idea of AJ Preller being on the move. This is before the postseason starting and now after the postseason ends. He said it would take something sensational for Preller to not be here in 2026.
Yeah, I mean, this is the trading as many players as he's traded the last 2 years and not getting to a World Series or even an NLCS, and and
he still had the ability, you're saying, to do that,
right? But I mean, is that not considered maybe sensational? Like the failures of the last two seasons?
I think the sensational part he was talking about is like after the season, it would take something sensational occurring, like in a meeting, like a differing of opinion that would force him.
Okay.
I mean, my thought on that is if you allow him to move Leo DeVries 2 months before you fire him, that's on you, John Seidler. Like if that was so against what you were hoping to accomplish, then why would you put him in a position to do that? You gave him the keys. 2 months later, you take him away with that much movement? That was a lot of movement.
Yeah. Or on the flip side, could it have been hey, you need to win? Or like the thought process from AJ is like, I feel like I need to win now, or I might this thing might be over. And that's why he made all the moves that he did the last 2 years.
What's your hunch say?
My hunch says he's back. But like I said, I wouldn't be entirely shocked if he's not. I would be surprised.
Shocked. Yeah.
I'd be very surprised, but I wouldn't be like jaw on the floor, didn't see this coming type of surprised, shocked. Like I saw an ad for Luca. Like
that was shocking.
That was shocking out of nowhere.
No, it wouldn't.
If AJ's gone, it won't. The reaction wouldn't be the reaction I had when Luca got traded.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't know what's going to happen. I just, the more I hear on it, the more I think about it. I think I would be surprised if he wasn't back. Now, do you keep him on a 1-year deal? That's a little odd.
That's the tricky part here is, the extension talk. Because after next season, there's probably a lockout. What's going to happen then?
Right.
I don't know, man. I don't know. And back to the last question I asked Acee about like Mike Schilt and the accountability and the culture. It's more or less, and I should have said, it's also the philosophy of the team that Mike Schilt has implemented into them of like, small ball and like the grit squad and like, he talks a big game, but it doesn't seem like the team backs it up. And the accountability plays into that, where is anybody in the organization going up to Tatis and being like, dude, bro, what's going on here? And like laying into him one of these times? Or is anybody going up? No, everybody's scared of Manny. So like no one's doing that with Manny.
Well, let me ask you something. Does that necessarily accomplish anything?
I mean, look, I'll use an example. And people might not like it, but we all remember what happened in 2022 at the end of the season. Bob Melvin laid into this team publicly. We all remember that series in Arizona. He laid into him. And it's kind of ironic that everybody that hated Bob Melvin in this town, Sleepy Bob, well, he's the only manager since 98 to lead the team to an NLCS. So look, say what you want about Bob, but hey, the team went to the NLCS. And under Mike Schilt, everyone loves Mike Schilt. I get it. He hasn't gotten there. And if anything, people are upset because they think he's choked and he's 1-5 in his career in elimination games.
Is it because of Melvin's speech in Arizona? But your point's valid. I mean, your point's valid. It's hard to know. Yeah. Like if Schilt holds his team accountable, have they gone further?
I don't know. I'm just probably, who knows? We never know because Mike Schilt will never be that guy.
Yeah. I mean, Mike Schilt is a good manager with flaws, like most managers. And by the way, he is going to be their manager moving forward. And he's probably not going to change his ways much in 2026. We'll get your phone calls on the other side, 877-767-4760. Chris Hajj at 4:30. Greg Camarillo at 4 p.m. It's Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by, get this, Major League Baseball. Speaking of, seriously, it's brought to you by Major League Baseball. We'll start with the postseason as the Padres are eliminated. The Cubs will move on to face the Brewers in the NLDS. The other NLDS series, Dodgers and Phillies, moving over to the ALDS. Yankees moving on. They're going to face the Blue Jays. Tigers will face the Mariners. Tonight, 7:30 kickoff time. 5:30 is when our pregame coverage starts. Aztecs take on Colorado State tonight. You can listen to John and Rich on the call right here on San Diego Sports 760. MLB's postseason is heating up, John. How good was that? October hits different. Watch baseball at its finest. Postseason 2025. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
So now, what's next?
The Cubs have won the ball game. They have won the National League Wild Card Series battle against San Diego.
We know from day one, and we laid it out there every day.
After a quick exit from the MLB playoffs, the Padres have to answer some hard questions.
Speculation runs wild, and we look for clarity.
Plus, the Scarlet and Black open up Mountain West play tonight versus Colorado State. Friar uncertainty and Friday Night Lights.
Let's light the fusion. Kick Camarillo.
All live from the San Diego Sports 760 studios with Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour 2 of Jon and Jim. We're here until 5:30. Aztecs pregame gets underway at that time. San Diego State, Colorado State, me and Rich on the call at 7:30. Aztecs trying to get to 4-1. Greg Camarillo will join us at 4 p.m., the former NFL receiver, his reaction to last night for Jim's Niners, and a look ahead to this weekend in the NFL. And Chris Hajj will join us at 4:30. Let's go to the phones here because some people want to weigh in, presumably on the Padres season coming to an end yesterday afternoon. 877-767-4760. 877-767-4760. Let's start with Race on line 1. Race, you're on with Jon and Jim.
Hey, guys. So my big question to you guys is, I've been on this Preller situation because, you know, how many years in a row can we be disappointed, but not put the blame on him or expect something to happen there? Because ultimately, people love to say, oh, he's assembled a championship team, right? It's on the stars. The stars haven't performed. But if you look at this team, at the end of the day, most of these quote unquote stars aren't performing like stars. They're underperforming. They're overpaid. And you have to really look at a lot of things people like to quote, oh, we haven't been to the playoffs. This is the first time, you know, and how many years back to back. Listen, AJ would have never made the playoffs in the old wild card format. If we went back to like 2013, 14, 90 games isn't getting you in. We would have never sniffed the playoffs in the last 4 years without that. And so, I mean, you just look at, I mean, can you imagine if Darvish doesn't pitch again and we're on the hook for 3 more years of salary?
Not if he retires.
Not if he retires.
Not if he retires.
I mean, it's a disaster.
No, but,
what's your take?
But what would you, Race, real quick before you go? I mean, what's the option? Just trust someone else?
Yeah, I'd go with someone else, because here's the thing I have with Preller that I think is the big issue. His formula, if you look at his formula, it's been pretty consistent, right? Is overpay for big names and then trade prospects for other veterans. I don't think any MLB team has proven that as a philosophy. If you have some overpaid veterans, you have to have the young talent coming up to supplement. And we've never had the young talent coming up. I mean, outside of Merrill, right? But obviously, look at Merrill, what he did last year. I mean, he was the guy last year.
And Race, just real quick,
probably our best team.
Hey, Race,
right?
real quick for you. Just, you know, what's AJ supposed to do when big pieces of your team, Jason Adam and Ramon Laureano, get hurt after the trade deadline? You know, like, do you think they would have won the Cubs series if Ramon Laureano and Jason Adam were healthy?
I think Laureano, I mean, I said to my brother's a huge fan. I said Laureano could be, like, when he went down, I said that could be the series right there.
Right.
But let's be honest. If we beat the Cubs, does anybody really think this is a championship team? We didn't even have a starter who could go 6 or 7 innings outside of Pavetta, right? I mean, think about it. Like, we have literally no starters. So the bullpen is necessary for the playoffs, but you can't win 10 playoffs games with only a bullpen.
Right. So,
I mean, so I'm just saying the formula is off. The formula of overpaying for players. If you're going to overpay for players, you overpay for pitchers. You don't overpay for position players.
Right. Appreciate you. Good call. Good call. I'm shocked you asked that question.
Why?
About Laureano and Adam?
You don't think they would have?
You never use the injury conversation as part of the equation.
I asked that question because Race was putting the blame on Preller, and that question was just like, what is Preller supposed to do? He built the team. They got injured.
Or at least shocked you would even entertain that.
Well, it's because people are blaming Preller, as Race did there, right? And I was just pointing out, how can you blame Preller for Jason Adam blowing his quad
injury, right,
and Ramon Laureano breaking his finger? That's what happened because a pitcher hit his finger with a pitch.
You can't, but how could you blame Manny Machado for it? Because, by the way, Manny Machado's results are driven by Ramon Laureano playing because it's a win-loss business. Yeah. And they could win if Ramon Laureano plays. Right? Isn't it the same? Mike Schild, he's a better manager.
And it's also not completely fair because the Cubs dealt with injuries too. Their best pitcher wasn't even in the series.
All the teams do.
They all do.
This is your point.
Yeah.
This is the point you've driven home as much as anyone.
Well, and I'm not saying, look, I'm not using it as an excuse. I was just simply pointing out, if you're going to blame Preller, how do you blame Preller for like those injuries?
Yeah, no, I mean, here's the thing. I don't personally blame Preller. I do recognize the injuries are a part of it. And I typically follow your line of thinking, which is that's not going to, at the end of the season, be an excuse for the end result.
Right. Figure it out.
Yeah, that's basically the deal. I mean, the Dodgers weren't exactly the healthiest team in baseball this year.
Nope. And they look pretty poised to go back to a World Series.
So it's just part of it. Let's go back to the phones. 877-767-4760. Matt, you're on with Jon and Jim.
Hi, guys. Hi, Jon. Hi, Jim. Thank you, guys. You guys are the best. Jon, I've seen you at Vegas many times, and Jim, you've came on one of my spaces before. I just want to talk about AJ for a second and why I'm optimistic for 2026.
Sure. Okay.
I don't blame AJ at all. I just feel like he gave us the roster to do well, and I get what his train of thought was at the deadline. Like, I feel like the field was wide open, and we got to first place. I just feel like there was just a lack of urgency on the coaching side and philosophy that led to a downfall. Like, if we were healthy, yeah, I think we would have beaten the Cubs. Would we have won the whole thing? I'm not sure. But I'm optimistic for next year because I feel like we're keeping a lot of the pieces that we have. Like a full year of Mason Miller, hopefully a full year of Laureano. And we're getting Musgrove back. I just feel like this is the biggest offseason in franchise history. Hopefully, like, Schilt can improve. Because if he stays, he needs to look himself in the mirror, and the players do as well. I just want your thoughts on that. Like, it was a frustrating year, but at the same time, we got to 90, and we made the playoffs.
Appreciate you, Matt.
Yeah, I feel like you should have hit the dump button there, Brian. He said the word urgency.
Yeah, you can't say that.
That's a bad word around here.
I mean, I don't know. Like, we say this, is it the most crucial offseason in franchise history?
Said that about last offseason.
Is it?
And the offseason before that.
Is it about injury? Every year you're going to be dealing with the same things. Guess what? Someone's getting hurt. Every offseason you have to address players leaving.
Right. It's just
every offseason. Well, I still have the core intact. All the teams do. I mean, it's like it's the same thing. I feel like we're just running around in circles with the Padres over the last half decade. You know what I mean? Like, it's been good, but it's never been great. It's been good. It's just kind of the same. Mm-hmm. Without that, I don't know. It just feels every offseason. Off 2021, guess what? When they disappointed like that, it was a big offseason.
Yeah.
Off 23, it was a huge offseason. A lot of big offseasons. What's going to change, though?
I don't know. The question is as simple as this. Do you think that this team with this core and this manager and this general manager can get to and win a World Series?
I mean, that's a high bar. And you're right. That is the ultimate question. I've always made that point. Like, are you in the business? How many times have you heard me say this, Jim? 4 years doing the show. Are you in the business of selling 3 million tickets, or are you in the business of winning a World Series? They're not the same question. Are you in the business of marketing, or are you in the business of winning? And they've been in a sweet spot where they've marketed effectively and they've won at a good clip. But are they content to win at a good clip, or do they put winning above all else? Is every decision top to the bottom centered around the importance of winning and winning at the right time of year? Is everything else by the wayside? Or, well, we have a budget, which is fair. 27 of the 30 teams have a budget. Not everyone's the Dodgers and the Mets. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I think it's at least a fair question. Like, are they in the business of putting their hat in the ring, or are they in the business of being the last hat in the ring.
I do think there are some people in an organization that probably view the sellouts and the merchandise sales and, we have still some really good players we can market.
And we have banana bread pudding, which I love.
It's amazing.
I think and their giveaways are awesome.
Giveaways are great.
They've hit a sweet spot. They've marketed well and they've won well. But when you get to 90, does that basically say like, I can wipe my hands? Got to 90.
I think there are people in the organization that do feel that way.
90 wins.
90 wins, 72 sellouts, banana pudding.
I love banana pudding.
Like, you know what?
It's good.
Maybe that's just good enough for some, For me, it's not. I think for a lot of people in the organization, it's not as well. But I do think there are people that's just good enough. And it's fine. Hey, we're relevant, right?
Yeah.
We're winning.
Talk about us.
We're making money at the gate.
Like that wasn't Peter, clearly. Evidenced by his spending and his words, his actions and his words said, I want to bring a parade here. Clear as day. And unfortunately, they couldn't do that, but it wasn't for a lack of effort. I think it's a fair question. And I'm not saying I know the answer. It is a fair question to say, does John Seidler desire to win at all costs like Peter?
We have no clue because he never spoke a word.
So I'm not going to say I'm not going to say he doesn't, but I can't say he does. And he should speak in some form or fashion to a passionate group of people that have consumed this team the way in which they have for the last half decade or more.
Yeah, dude. It's a lot of soul searching going on in that organization.
Right.
And I do think the question is valid. Do you believe this group? Because right now, at this moment in time, they're not going anywhere. They're all under contract. The manager's under contract. The GM's under contract, right? They're not going anywhere. Do you believe this group can get you to a World Series when they haven't even sniffed one yet? And your manager's 1-5 in elimination games. Manny Machado goes MIA every postseason. Fernando Tatis Jr. is Mr. Pouty Pants. The offense stinks in the postseason. Do you believe this is the group to do it? Because they haven't proven it and they haven't shown it.
Is this the group to get San Diego somewhere they've never gotten? 877-767-4760 or text us 70470. Start it with the word team. By the way, Manny's updated career postseason numbers is at 209 in his postseason career. More on the aftermath of a Padres disappointing exit in Chicago. Plus, Greg Camarillo will join us at 4 p.m. The former NFL receiver. Chris Hajj has free picks, NFL and college for our listeners at 4:30. Aztec pregame at 5:30. This is Jon and Jim. All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. A lot of strong reactions today, as there should be. The Padres fall to the Cubs in just excruciating fashion is what it is. I guess anytime you lose a decisive game like that, it sucks. So it could have been 10-9. It could have been 1-0. It still is the end result. But you're kind of left scratching your head like, how did it go so wrong? Even though going into the series, we said the same things. They can't win on the road.
I mean, if they lost 10-9, that's the thing. We're having the same conversation as we did last year.
If they lost 10-9?
No.
Oh, we're having the same conversation because they play out the same way.
If they lost 10-9, it would be a different conversation.
Like, can you believe Mason Miller allowed 3 runs there in the 8th? I mean, that would be, at least it's different. It's a different story. I wouldn't be rooting for that.
That would be shocking. But still, my point is, we're having the same conversations that we had last season.
You know what's so dumb too? Like, to put it this simply, they lost because the Cubs played better defense. Like, the Cubs
right in
won
Mike Schultz's face.
The Cubs won because they made like 10 quality defensive plays, 5 of which were made by Dansby Swanson.
I would love to see like the Savant page or whatever showing me the defensive runs saved by the Cubs in the series.
All of them. Right. They saved the runs.
They saved them all.
Catch probabilities. I mean, the Iglesias ball to second.
Well, look, they were one of the better teams in baseball defensively all year long.
Yep.
Because up the middle, PCA, Nico Horner, and Dansby Swanson, that's one of the best up the middle defenses in the sport.
It's just crazy. It comes down to like, you hit a ball in the screws, like Iglesias, right? The second hit a ball in the screws that were like
Nico Horner, Michael Jordan,
just like there.
Yeah.
Or I don't even know how to describe it. I mean, I hate to like put it in Manny's words. That's baseball. Like you play for 6 months and it comes down to Horner being there. That's what it came down to. You play for 6 months. It comes to DJ Rayburn being Enrico Palazzo or whatever his name is.
Yeah, but it all didn't come down to that.
But it kind of does. I agree.
They were big moments for sure. They were momentum shifting moments. And in the postseason, defensive plays like that,
oh man,
can shift the momentum. I mean, Dansby Swanson took over the game defensively yesterday.
Yeah,
he was a vacuum at short. It was incredible to watch. And you have to overcome. You have to, you know. Hey, can you take a pitch the other way maybe one time? Like, stop hitting the ball to Dansby freaking Swanson.
Sure, like hit them where they ain't, so to speak. I mean, the Bogarts thing maybe is a good like summary of like.
We haven't even really talked about it.
It's so Padres. It's just like, of course. And then we didn't talk about it yesterday on Jon and Jim. The reaction of the Padres dugout to the umpires walking back in the same tunnel post game.
You see this, Brent?
Did you see
Dude,
DJ
we got
Rayburn?
showed in the break. Oh my gosh.
It got heated between Padres players, Xander Bogaerts, Jose Iglesias, others, Mike Schill holding Jose Iglesias back.
There's probably some others in the dugout.
Others in there you couldn't see. And the umpire and crew coming in because they share that tunnel on the way in. And it was, when I say heated, I mean
like they're
no holds barred.
Yeah.
Cursing left and right.
Yeah.
Vitriol.
Yeah.
Go back. I get it. I respect it almost. Right?
I've watched it probably 5 to 10 times.
You did a John Boy on the wrap-up show, but it was funny, man.
I cannot do that reenactment here on the radio.
No, but it was funny.
We will be fired in 2 seconds, or I would be. But
that's fine.
Go back. Yeah. Like, do it, Jim. Sir, go back and watch. If you haven't seen this video yet, guys, go find it. It's on my Twitter account. It's everywhere. Jon, I think maybe you retweeted it. I don't know. No. I don't usually get into that. Yeah, you keep you're very PG on social media. I'm not.
Yeah, Jim's like,
I'm like F this, F that. I'm just like, you know what? I was PG for a while where like I'm not going to cuss on social media.
When was that?
That was
2008.
No, I'm serious. As early, 3 years ago, and then I finally just said F it, and I just don't care anymore. Like I'm not like I'll curse. It's fine. But my favorite part of the video, go back and watch.
Right. You want me to watch it for what? What happens?
Go watch it right now.
Okay.
And I want you to watch Tim Leeper.
Oh, he's like shocked. He's like,
hands on his head.
Like, oh my god.
He's like, oh my, like he just saw someone like get knocked out.
Kind of like Home Alone, like when the kid's like,
like hands on his head.
Face. Like, I can't believe it.
Dude, it is so funny
I
watching
know.
Tim Leeper's reaction because he gets over there and he's like, oh my gosh. You know, like Xander. And I do think DJ Rayburn was the one that really instigated this whole thing.
So you can't take that pitch, bud. Too close. I guarantee it was something
because
like
Jose
that.
Iglesias went over there and was like, F you. And then DJ Rayburn, you know, kind of leaned in and said something.
It's like, it was on the black.
And then Xander heard, and then Xander just lost his mind.
I mean, he lost his mind.
Good. Look, I have no problem with it.
None. I agree with you.
No problem with it.
This goes back to this narrative that they're lazy. They don't care. You think they don't care? They care a lot. They care a lot.
Dude.
I mean,
and with how much influence an umpire has on a game of baseball until next year.
But even then, man,
you make that call to take the bat out of Xander's hands, and we don't know how the rest of the ninth inning is going to shape out.
Yes, we do.
But if it shapes out the same way that, you know, after what transpired, right, with hitting O'Hearn, hitting Johnson.
So it's bases loaded, nobody out. 3-1. You are sack fly from tying.
Yep. And that's, I think, exactly what happened.
Single from tying. You're double from leading.
Because they went sack fly if the bases were loaded there. Because
that's insane. I didn't even think about that.
Because Jake hit one to center or either right or center.
And then for me into medium deep center field.
Game's tied. You know? And again, we don't know. No one will ever know. But that moment, dude, if anybody is trying to have this like take of these guys are a bunch of idiots or whatever for getting in the umpire's face, bro.
No,
they're not. I do too.
But also, I do think it shoots down the narrative that like they just don't care. They're high priced like superstar players. No, believe me, they care a lot. They probably care too much, truthfully, and they get in those situations where they got tight again here in 2025 and their season is over. All right, more reaction on the other side. Greg Camarillo will join us coming up at 4 p.m. The former NFL wide receiver at 4:30. Chris Hajj from Taking Vegas will join us. Free picks for our listeners. Aztecs pregame at 5:30. Kickoff at 7:30. San Diego State and Colorado State tonight. This is Jon and Jim. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, hey guys, it is Schaefer, and there's no better time than now to get down to your local Toyota dealer. New vehicles arriving daily, including their most popular cars, trucks, and SUVs. So whatever kind of vehicle you're looking for, hurry into your Toyota dealer today. It is Trucktober at your Toyota dealer. Your best time to get into a new Toyota truck. We've got the largest inventory of Tacomas and Tundras ready to roll. The Tacoma is known for its legendary toughness, off-road capabilities, and everyday efficiency. Perfect for weekend adventures or just tackling your to-do list. And the Tundra brings serious power, impressive towing capacity, and bold design, plus the latest tech and comfort features. Whether you need a truck that's built for the trails, built for work, or built for your family's next adventure, Toyota's got you covered this Trucktober. So make sure to check them out. Again, hurry into your Toyota dealer today. We make it easy. See your Toyota dealer today.
This update is brought to you by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. The division round is set in baseball after the Cubs eliminated the Padres yesterday. They're moving on to take on the Brewers in the NLDS. Other series, Padres and Phillies. Those series begin this weekend. Along in the American League, you have the Yankees taking on the Blue Jays and Tigers taking on the Mariners. And tonight, San Diego State, they take on Colorado State as they start conference play. 7:30 kickoff time. 5:30 is when our pregame coverage starts right here on San Diego Sports 760. Need HVAC this month? Get 0% for 18 months on a new system. Schedule your free proposal at AndersonPHA.com. Anderson, fast, reliable. Wow.
All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Jim, what is your reaction when a season comes to an end and a team thanks its fan base for their support throughout the course of a year?
Well, John, as I put on social media, it's the one tweet that you don't want to see from your favorite team as a fan, because that means your season is over.
Well, do you get the thank you fans when you win a World Series too?
You don't get the thank you fans when you win.
No, you just get the World. You just get everything that comes with it.
You get way more
Parades,
than that. You get way more than that. But the just obligatory thank you fans graphic that the Padres posted about 30 minutes ago or whenever it was, man, it's such a sad post. Like, it is the saddest post, and they better do more. At least I feel like they will do more, because the fans deserve more than just a thank you fans graphic.
Thanks.
But you know what? Now, you know, what you do is you save that graphic, and next year, you know, whenever
reuse it.
Yeah. But no, what I meant is like for a fan when you troll, anytime something bad goes, you know, when something bad happens to your team, it's like, here's the thank you fans tweet. Season's over.
Thank you fans.
Thank you.
You know, social media, it's like, it is a necessary evil, right? Every professional sports franchise basically in the world has social media. But man, there's some of those things you just don't want to see. The old final graphic when your season is over,
followed by
with the 2,000 likes, or excuse me, comments,
followed by the thank you fans.
It's like, you have to do it. You should do it, and to your point, you should do even more than that.
It's like the sad tweets of like, "Oh my God, we just tied it up," and then the next one is like, "Final, we lost."
I always love this. Is my like in college athletics, like. The social media director's like, here's the score after the first quarter. Here's the score after the second. Yeah. Here's the score after the third. You never get the final score graphic because they're mad because like it went sideways, and I don't want to hear it from the fans. But listen, the fans have a voice in this. When you draw 3.4 million fans, you're gonna have 2,000 reactions or comments to your final score graphic. So, what are the first comments under "Thank you, fans"? Sign a first baseman,
probably.
You know,
I wanted to. So did you see what the Colorado Rockies did?
No. For their fans?
Yeah. So obviously worst season in baseball history. I mean,
sorry,
we're sorry. But this is the tweet they put out at the end of their season. Right?
Maybe I saw it. What'd they say?
Hey, Rockies fans, at Rockies admin here. Before we sign off for a while, we just wanted to say thank you, ... for being the people we spend more time with than our actual family. For hanging out with us every day since February 10th. For the replies and comments, yes, we read them. We can't wait to be back. But for now, we're going to take a nap. Peace.
That's funny. They're just like, it's time, man. It's been a long year.
Well, the self-awareness from the Rockies social media department is infinitely better than the social awareness by the Padres media department or social media department.
So you don't like, do you think they should thank fans yesterday?
No,
you want a video?
I'm not going at this. I'm not referencing this. I'm referencing like, hey, can we spice it up a little bit, guys? I don't know. Can we not be the worst social media team or one of the worst social media teams in the sport?
The one thing we can all actually credit the Chargers for.
Yeah.
I think it is fair to say this. Like, whether you hate them, you love them, whatever, their social media is actually good.
It's elite.
Like, you may hate the team. That's fine. But they have a good social media team. Now, I don't know what it's bought them, so to speak, but they do good social media. Right. And that is a factual statement. Do you think we'll see the Padres cheering on SDFC this postseason coming up in just a few weeks with Manny's ownership?
Well, at least Manny has enough time to go watch games now. Too
They
soon?
finish on the road, right? And then they'll be home for the postseason.
Well, there's a home game tomorrow night, I think, right? No, there's not a home game. There's a road game tomorrow night.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, postseason, he'll probably be there.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But
the only way the Padres social media team tweets about SDFC from now until, whatever, is if they actually like make the MLS Cup.
Right.
You're not getting a good luck in the postseason SDFC. You're not getting any of that. It probably took got people in the organization, to twist their arm to get them to even acknowledge SDFC.
Manny's like, I'm not playing. I'm not coming to work unless you send out this tweet, I mean, yeah, I don't even know. I mean, at the end of the day, on a day like today, it's just like, it's the worst. We've spent 8 months. February gets there. Oh, no, more than that. We spent the whole offseason talking about Roki Sasaki. Then it's Nick Pivetta. Then it's the season. And then it comes, it ends so quick.
So quick.
It ends so quickly. And now you're like left to pick up the pieces. I'm like, I don't even know what pieces are left to pick up right now.
I do want to look back to see what this team actually did. So, dude, they tweeted out 4 times the other day. This is all they did. Let's play 3.
Oh, for game 3?
Yeah. And then they posted a picture of you, Darvish, on site like.com.
Okay.
Then a video of
Tres Leches.
Jackson Merrill wearing an LT shirt with Nick Pivetta and Gavin Sheets, Tres Leches, and then the final score.
That was it.
They didn't even post like the Merrill homer in the 9th. Screw it.
Yeah, where's that?
I don't know, man.
They were probably all in Chicago. It's not the social media's team fault what happened.
No, I'm not saying it is.
I'm just looking back on it. It's just like, it's a day where I find it very hard today. Like, I feel like you have to be very truthful on a day like today. Like, I can't come on today and be like, you know what? I really like the year Fermin put together. Like, what does it mean? Like, at the end of the day, the expectation was much more than what we all got to experience. Now, the writing might have been on the wall. I mean, we weren't sitting here saying they were going to win the World Series. I didn't really think they were going to win the World Series. You always have hope when your team's in the postseason, but it's just like today's not a day to spin anything.
No, and I know people in this town will try to spin. There's some spinners in this town. There are some spinners on this town.
Like, when I hear Manny not spinning and when I hear Toddy cursing immediately post game, like, I have to tell it like it is.
Well, I'm just glad that that we tell it like it is, and it gives Bill Center one less show to listen to during his day.
What are you talking about? Obviously, he says we're critical or whatever.
And it's just,
he says everyone is.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know how you can do. I don't know how you can do a show like yesterday, the final hour, or today, or the wrap up show, and do anything other than like completely unbiased critiquing of what played out. Like, how can you come on the air today and be like, yeah, lost 3-1. It was nice to see Merrill get on the board there. Was really swinging it well late. Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
The Padres are literally cursing and screaming at the umpires off the field.
Right.
Which basically also voices their frustration with the situation that they're in. That here we go again. Big payroll, big expectations, unfortunately down the drain in that like fashion.
I mean, I can say in this series, guys that I looked at that had good series and was a positive, and guys that I won't say a bad thing about regarding this series: Nick Pivetta, Mason Miller, Adrian Morejon, Jackson Merrill, Xander Bogaerts, Freddie Fermin, Dylan Cease, Jeremiah Estrada to an extent. Like, the bullpen, right? Besides Robert Suarez. Sorry, that he did not pitch well yesterday, and he didn't look good. So, like, yeah, I mean, those are the guys that I'm not talking about, and I won't talk about them because they played well. And I will acknowledge those guys played well in this series, and they showed up. Freddie Fermin, Xander, Jackson, Nick, Pivetta, Dylan Cease, Mason Miller, Adrian Morejon. Those guys showed up in this series. Okay, there you go. There's your positive. But like those guys playing well in the series is not going to be something I'm going to just continually talk about when you have the heartbreak and the disappointment And then the other players and the stars and Jay Cronenworth and Manny and Arise and Toddy and Yu Darvish and Robert Suarez and Mike, like those guys let the team down. And that's the big story.
Yeah, it's hard for me to even look at it, though, like individually. I'm just like, they did not collectively get the job done. Like, and that's where it goes back to the initial conversation about, like, is this the right group?
True. Yeah.
Is this the group? And I don't know the answer to it. And it's easy. And, in the immediate aftermath, you want to be very, I don't know, it's hard to be rational maybe, but like, is this the group to pull the strings that are necessary to put a team together that can win? It's not about individuals that can perform. Every team has an individual that's going to perform in the postseason. It's like, can they collectively win as a team? I don't even know where you go from here. Like, if I was AJ Preller today, where do I even start?
You get a
Starbucks.
You go to Denny's for a little while, just
play
chill,
some pickup hoops.
Go to your favorite booth and just like hang out there for a while. And
did you even play basketball today? I'm calling up your buddies.
You probably might have to.
I think you have to.
You have to. You got to get your mind off of this stupid team.
Do you think? And we've talked about this before, but like, do you think he would potentially like prefer another opportunity elsewhere at some point? Not because they're getting rid of him, but because like, I did it every way. I tried to build from within. I did it internationally. I did it with free agency. I did it with cost-effective spending. I've done it at the deadline. I've done it drafting. What else am I supposed to do here? We've tried every way.
Yeah.
Like, I'll take some of the accountability. You guys might be better served with someone else. I got another opportunity.
Look,
like, is it better if we just part ways?
If David Stearns wasn't like as new of a GM in New York with the Mets.
He's only been there for 1 year, right?
1 year.
Yeah. He's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere. But I'm just giving you a hypothetical. Steve Cohen called AJ Preller. Like, hey, man, I know you got 1 year left on your deal. You want to work something out? You're not taking that? Unlimited resources, unlimited money. New York. That's like where he grew up.
Right.
You serious? Yeah. I think if an opportunity presented itself to him, it had to be the right opportunity, though. Can't be like the Colorado Rockies.
No, of course not.
But the right opportunity with this a new organization to go there. Yeah, I do.
Start fresh.
I absolutely think he would listen for sure.
And I'm not saying that AJ, deserves based on what he's done to be here for forever. There'll be a moment where like it's going to make sense. I personally don't think that's right now, but again, I could talk my ways both ways. Both ways around that conversation. All right, we can go back to the phones on the other side. 877-767-4760. Chris Hajj will join us coming up at 4:30. Free picks for our listeners. Greg Camarillo, the former NFL receiver, will join us at 4 p.m. Aztec pregame at 5:30. This is Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, let's go to the phones. Greg Camarillo is going to join us at 4 p.m. We could talk about something other than the Padres for the first time in 9 months. 877
Mac Jones, baby.
Mac Jones.
Mac
Is there
Jones.
a QB controversy in San Francisco, Greg?
I always believed in Mac Jones.
Brent. 877-767-4766. Let's start with Dave. I wonder what Dave thinks about. Dave, didn't you call us yesterday post game or no?
A little bit, I think.
All right, I want to hear what you have to say today.
I did, and congratulations, guys, on a really fun season with us, and thank you for being there.
Appreciate you, man.
And I miss you enough at the late night show, the wrap up show. It's going to be kind of empty without you. But having said that, real fast, John, you hit a real good point here, and I had to call. Frankly, there's two choices here for the future. One, you can play it back again, full well knowing the character and makeup of this team, or you can have the courage to make changes. And some of the changes will be quite painful. There's going to have to be some painful conversations, but the roster dynamics here have shown to be what they are. They're not a very good pressure group collectively. For whatever reason, they aren't. And so this has to be addressed. You can be Charlie Brown sitting in the pumpkin patch waiting for the great pumpkin, or you can make changes and have a little bit different outcome. We know what they are. I mean, we know what this team is about. They've proven it over the last several months and years at this point. So that's what I got for today.
Appreciate it, Dave. I mean, I when we say change, on field, it's hard to make the big changes. If we're talking about the big contracts, those don't change.
Right. You're not firing Manny Machado or Fernando Tatis Jr.
So the only real change, I guess, in that conversation is AJ Preller. I mean, I don't even think that's a manager conversation. Who, after 2 years of 90 plus wins, are you like, get rid of him? That doesn't make that much sense, no matter what you think about Mike Schill. And does that solve it? I mean, come on, that's wishful. So do you just do the ultimate decision, which is change the true direction of an organization, which is a GM, whatever, change the GM. I get the conversation. I completely understand it. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. I don't think I would do it. We've made the point. I think it would be a mistake, but I'm not saying they won't do it. I just don't think I would do it.
I wouldn't do it either. I don't know what changed. I don't know. It's so frustrating to sit here and just say the change they have to make is just they have to be better.
And the Victor Rodriguez thing that's so ridiculous because that's fine. Everyone's accountable, but let's say they get rid of Victor Rodriguez, they will, and they'll bring someone else in. But what does that mean?
I said this on the wrap-up show last night. I've defended Victor Rodriguez because everyone was praising him in 2024, and the offense was great in 2024. The offense was awful in 2025.
Right.
So
it's on him.
It's on him now. And just last year, everyone was praising him. But I also did mention if they did fire him, I'm not going to argue it, and I'm not going to sit here and defend him anymore.
I would understand.
I would understand it. Like
someone always is going to take the fall.
Yeah. Did what happened this year in the postseason and the regular season? Did that deserve heads to roll? I would tend to say and lean towards no, but I also wouldn't argue with you if there were some significant changes with that coaching staff.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Is there anywhere else you go other than? It's not Victor Rodriguez personally or specifically. I get it; they didn't hit, and he's the hitting coach, so I get the correlation.
Yeah,
but is there something else? I mean, not your pitching coach.
Look, it comes down to this, and we talked to Kevin about it. It's like the culture and the philosophy that's been created by a Mike Schilt-led baseball team. That has to change. That has to change. There's no accountability here when things go sideways. There's only babying. There's only, what are you talking about? This guy's amazing. Mike, stop. Toddy hit 5 homers in 3 months or something like that. Can you address the problem head on here? Because we all see it. You guys lost 5 in a row. Address the problem head on. You guys lost 10 of 12. Address the problem head on. Don't sugarcoat things. Don't have a philosophy of as a team of small ball wins games. It doesn't. Well, I mean, it does, but it doesn't win you championships. It doesn't get you far in postseasons, right?
Not this year.
Address it. Change it. Someone's got to change Mike Schilt.
Yeah, but what do they say? Like a leopard doesn't change its. What do they say? Spots? Do leopards have spots?
Zebra doesn't change its stripes.
Right.
Yeah, you can't.
Like you're gonna get me to change? No. And I'm 45. You know what I mean? I'm in my 40s. What is gonna change about me?
Well, I mean, we're not. I get it. What you're saying.
But you get set in ways.
I know.
Like, am I all of a sudden going to become a historian on Greek anthology?
And then no. But then that goes to the bigger question that we've had all day: is can Mike Schilt and this core, if they're not going to change, win a World Series?
I don't know. 877-767-4760. Mike on line 2. Mike, you're on with Jon and Jim. Thanks for calling in.
Hi, Joe. Hi, thank you. Yeah. Thanks, gentlemen. You guys got a great show. I'm really, thanks for all your knowledge and about the sport. And I just don't want to be a bad guy here. And it's another aspect which isn't really fundamental per se, but it was about Manny. Other than his, his postseason not being very good at all. In regards to the clubhouse culture, I'm just wondering, a lot of times baseball is like a kid's game, and I'm hearing, and I don't want to be politically incorrect about bringing this up, but there's been incidences with Manny and the other players and the way he kind of scolds them. Like, we've all seen the infamous incident with Tatis, and there was also the one with Jerks and Profar when he hit the ball down the left field line, and he went at him at the bullpen with the cameras going when Musgrove had to step in to calm him down. And then you got the stuff with even the reporters. I know they ask a bunch of stupid questions all the time, but there was an incident where they just beat the Brewers, and Manny started saying about how they're concentrating on winning the division. Fair enough. And the reporter goes, he alluded that he didn't think in his voice, he thought the Dodgers were still going to they were going to have a hard time catching the Dodgers. So Manny picked up on it and he started like attacking the reporters, started bullying him too, like through the back door, like you doubted me. Well, I've proven things against doubters before. Anyway, long story short, I'm just, like, you got the thing with Soto too, like Soto was complaining. He wasn't complaining, but he was talking about Manny's clubhouse leadership. And I'm just wondering, if that goes a little bit to the attitude. I mean, I know they're all professionals, and you hear junk, and you kind of just be mad about it, and you just keep it to yourself, and you just do your best. But I remember playing sports as a kid. And
Mike, we're up against it. I appreciate the call. I mean, listen, you talk about someone not changing their ways. Manny's not changing. You're going to win his way or you're not. Manny's brash personality, his persona, his style, his leadership style, it will never change.
What is this, high school baseball?
You will win the way he's going to go about it, or you will not. Yep. But you will not win by converting him to be someone else.
And that's been the question since 2018 when he left the Dodgers, and all Mr. Johnny Hustle, right?
Yep.
And it's been the question for Manny his entire career. Can you win a World Series when your team is led by Manny Machado?
Answer through 14 seasons is no. Greg Camarillo, our NFL insider, works for NBC7 Sunday Night Football night in San Diego. After Sunday Night Football, Greg Camarillo, the former NFL wide receiver, will join us on the other side. Chris Hajj at 4:30. It's Jon and Jim. Hey guys, it is Schaefer again, and there is no better time than now to get down to your local Toyota dealer. New vehicles arriving daily, including their most popular cars, trucks, and SUVs. So whatever kind of vehicle you're looking for, hurry into your Toyota dealer today. And speaking of trucks, it is Trucktober at your Toyota dealer. Your best time to get into a new Toyota truck. We've got the largest inventory of Tacomas and Tundras ready to roll. The Tacoma is known for its legendary toughness, off-road capabilities, and everyday efficiency, perfect for weekend adventures or just tackling your to-do list. And the Tundra brings some serious power, impressive towing capacity, and bold design, plus the latest tech and comfort features. Whether you need a truck that's built for the trails, built for work, or built for your family's next adventure, Toyota's got you covered this Trucktober. We make it easy. See your Toyota dealer today.
All right, this update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. The division round is set in baseball. Cubs, after eliminated the Padres, will now go and face the Brewers in the NLDS. Dodgers will face the Phillies in the other series in the National League. In the American League, after the Yankees beat the Red Sox, they're going to face the Blue Jays in the American League Division Series, and the Tigers will take on the Mariners in the other American League Division Series. And tonight we have Aztecs football. 7:30 kickoff time as the Aztecs take on Colorado State to start conference play. Our pregame cover starts at 5:30 right here on San Diego Sports 760. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an Asian parent for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio, you get an extra 5% off.
All right, hour 3, Jon and Jim. Great to reconnect with Greg Camarillo, former NFL wide receiver, our NFL insider. Of course, you can catch him Sunday nights, NBC7, football night in San Diego. And Greg, always appreciate the time. We're coming off last night's really good game between the Niners and the Rams. Jim's Niners.
Yeah.
Where do you see the Niners in this like NFC pecking order? We know the quarterback situation has been unique. They're 4-1 overall. They're 3-0 in their division. Where do you put them among NFC contenders?
Towards the top, but they're not in my mind a true threat like some of the other teams. Like I would easily take Detroit over the Niners. I would take the Eagles over the Niners, but like you mentioned, they're 3-0. They're on top of their division. So they have to be looked at as a threat. And it's been fun to watch the quarterback shuffle of Mac Jones getting in there and getting some action. And what a great game last night. It all came down to one final 4th and 1. And the Niners got the stop and got their win.
So Sean McVay post-game mentioned it was on him. He needs to be better. He said that play call that he had at the end of the game, he feels awful about it because, it ended up losing him the game. As a player, how would you feel in that situation, seeing your coach, go for it on 4th and 1 there in overtime instead of maybe kicking the field goal or even a different play, that cost him the game right there? How would you feel in that situation?
I love the fact that he went for it. And Sean McVay and his comments are a sign of a good leader and a sign of a coach with job security, because he can openly admit that he didn't like his call. But what he's really doing is taking the onus off of the players. That the blame is no longer on the players. He's bringing the blame at him. And that's what a great leader does. And that's why that's the one reason why his players love him. If I am on an offense and we have 4th and 1 and we have a chance to go win a game versus potentially tie or give the other team the ball, 100% of the time, the offense wants the ball. Give us the ball. If we can't get 1 yard, we're talking 1 yard in the NFL. If we can't get that 1 yard, we don't deserve to win the game. So I love that he made that call, keep the offense out there. He did the right move of trying to draw him off sides first, taking a timeout. Like it was coached beautifully. It's 1 yard. The offensive line's got to get a push. The running back's got to get there. And if you can't get there, you don't deserve to win the game. And so, the Niners made that play. But I love Sean McVay's approach. And as a player, you want to have the opportunity to go win the game on offense. And they just didn't get it done.
Former NFL wide receiver Greg Camarillo with us right now, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. So you mentioned the Rams. Who's the second best team in the NFC West? Is it the Rams or is it the Seahawks?
The Rams. The Rams, if they are field goals away from being undefeated. So it was their Philly game, I believe, where they lost right at the very last play. And then the Niner game, if they get 1 yard, they can go win the game. Or if they don't fumble or going into the end zone, they can go win the game. So they're inches away from being 5-0. Now, you could say that about a lot of teams. That's the beauty of football, is that every play, every inch matters. That's why it's so much fun to watch. But they are a good team. Sean McVay said going into the season, this is the best roster I've had. This is the best team I've had, which is a huge statement for a Super Bowl winning coach. And they've played like that. And they are the second best team, but it is a loaded conference, loaded division that will have a lot of ups and downs. No one team is just going to run away with that.
So I remember talking to you last week about Ravens Chiefs and who the game was bigger for, and coming out of the game from the Ravens perspective, you lose Lamar Jackson for a little bit. You also lost the game. You did not look good. And now on the season, you're 1-3 and you're underdogs at home now to the Houston Texans. How concerned should you be if you're a Ravens fan right now with the start of their season?
Yeah, maximum concern, huge concern. Sound all the alarms, put on all the alerts. They have not shown that step towards improvement. Now, we saw that from Kansas City, but the Baltimore Ravens were very close in games that came down to fumbles, to turnovers, and we're knocking on that door, and then they just laid an egg versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, is all of that cause for alarm? No. But that plus Lamar Jackson being out for a week, not being able to play, and a hamstring is not necessarily an injury that you can just fight through. So even when he does come back, He runs. That's what he does. He's fast. He's quick, and you need your hamstring for all of that. So that would be the biggest concern. If they can't beat the Texans, then you can pretty much put a fork in them. They're done. Then this is their week. This is their must-win week, and they got to do it without their MVP.
Greg Camarillo with us right now. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. An absolutely massive game for Baltimore. Who is Sunday's game between the Commanders and Chargers more important for? The Commanders getting Jaden Daniels back, the Chargers coming off a loss in New York to the Giants.
I think it's more important for the Commanders. And I say that because they have Jaden Daniels back. So they're getting a key component back. I think Terry McLaurin is out again. So that's a big part missing for them. But they're getting their leader back and need to go get a win. The Chargers, because of their hot start, have a little bit of flexibility. And because of Kansas City's slow start, and they're missing linemen. They're missing all kinds of linemen. So Joe Alt, I believe, is out with an ankle. He'll be out, I would assume, a couple more weeks. Becton has been out with a concussion and might be back. So there's a built-in excuse or a concern. You know, we have missing linemen. We have missing pieces. We're not playing the same way that we can normally play once those guys are healthy. On the other side, the Commanders have their guy healthy back, and they need to go get a victory. So more important for the Commanders. But if you're a Charger player, if you're a Charger fan, and you saw how the Chiefs rebounded, then you know that there's no cruising into the postseason. The Chiefs found their swagger back, and you got to keep rolling.
Yeah. Speaking of the Chiefs, out of that Ravens game, you know, Chiefs, they looked really good. And now they get Xavier Worthy back. Is it that simple? Just getting, you know, Xavier Worthy back and, Patrick Mahomes, he's still really, really good. It feels like, you know, playing the Jaguars here on Monday night, they can take care of the Jaguars on the road, 3-2 now, and they're only a game back in the division. It kind of just feels like, here we go again with the Chiefs, just, you know, being consistent, and they're going to be in it.
Yeah, it sure looked like all they needed was one piece in Xavier Worthy. And it's scary to think that when they get their other piece and Rashee Wright back from his suspension, what their offense will look like from there. It's safe to say the vast majority of football fans knew that the Kansas City Chiefs weren't just going to turn into a bad team the whole season. They looked bad. They were a bad team for the first couple weeks, but if you've paid attention to anything to do with football over the last 6 or 7 years, you've known that the Chiefs will always be in the mix so long as they have Andy Reid, so long as they have Patrick Mahomes. I don't think their problems are solved. I don't think they're suddenly going to steamroll through the rest of their schedule, especially a Jacksonville team that's looking good. But they're heading in the right direction. And if you're in their division, if you're the Broncos, you're the Chargers, you're the Raiders, you got to go, and you got to go win games, because the Chiefs found a little bit of their swagger back, and it's only going to grow from there.
Former NFL wide receiver Greg Camarillo with us right now, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. So the Cowboys have scored 40 points twice already. Can their offense, I look at the schedule, I mean, at Jets, at Panthers coming up, can their offense allow them to hang around for a playoff spot or not in the NFC?
Yes, I think so. If you can put up 40, you're going to be competitive. I think they're 1-2-1.
Yeah, 2-1.
So it doesn't look great if, you know, CeeDee Lamb in the first game catches a couple more balls. They flip one of those losses into a victory. But they look good. You know, they show enough promise where they can go win some games. And, you know, you look at their division as to who they're playing, and the Eagles are undefeated, but they laid an egg in the second half of last week. They had 0 passing yards. They've got a star wide receiver in AJ Brown that's not necessarily happy with his role because he's not getting the ball. And you look at the Commanders, who are up and down. And so the Cowboys fit right in there. You know, they fit right in with that mix. And then the other team's the Giants, so not a huge concern there. So, yes, I do think they have enough on offense to keep their team in the mix until late in the season.
So the Detroit Lions, they have the best point differential in the entire league. They did not look good in their opener on the road against the Packers, but the last 3 games have been, you know, Lions of 2024, putting up a lot of points. Their offense is humming, defense with Aiden Hutchinson back. I know the Eagles are still the team to beat in the NFC, but kind of feels like the Lions, like, watch out for that team if they stay healthy going forward.
Way more concerned if I'm an opponent that I'm playing the Lions or the Eagles. I'm way more concerned that I'd be playing the Lions. And it's just like you mentioned, they are lighting the scoreboard up, and they look like they're having fun doing it. You know, Jay, this is the same with last year. These guys are flying around. They're making big plays. They're lighting up the scoreboard. And that's all with basically taking week one off. They looked horrible, and we all were questioning what's going on with them. And then they immediately answered that question and have been unstoppable since. And I think that's the team we're going to see, the team from the last 3 games, not week one. And so there's an extra fire of getting close to a championship without winning a championship. And that extra fire is that motivation to keep pushing week in, week out. Whereas, if you're in Philadelphia, I'm not saying they're unmotivated, but it feels nice to have a Super Bowl ring. It feels nice to have been through a parade. Where in Detroit, you're looking at that saying, I want that. And that little bit of extra motivation can be that fire to keep them rolling. And I certainly wouldn't want to face them. Jared Goff and Dan Campbell got that team rolling.
Yeah, the disappointment last year, the home playoff loss to Washington, but here we are a year later, and maybe a chance to avenge that at some point in 2026. Greg, always appreciate the perspective, man. Enjoy the games this weekend. We'll be watching Sunday night football night in San Diego on NBC7, and thanks as always for taking time for us, man.
Appreciate it, fellas.
Great stuff.
Greg's good, man.
Really good.
I mean,
it's like he talks about the NFL every week.
And it's like he's a former NFL wide receiver.
Right. That's what it's like.
It's what it's like that he's a former NFL player and that he talks NFL on a weekly basis.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it's like.
Yeah, that's what it's like.
We'll get your calls on the other side. 877-767-4760. Chris Hajj has free picks coming up for our listeners at 4:30. We're here until 5:30. This is Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, hey guys, it is Schaefer again, and there is no better time than now to get down to your local Toyota dealer with new vehicles arriving daily, including the most popular cars, trucks, and SUVs. So whatever kind of vehicle you're looking for, hurry into your Toyota dealer today. It is Trucktober as well at your Toyota dealer. Your best time to get into a new Toyota truck. We've got the largest inventory of Tacomas and Tundras ready to roll. The Tacoma is known for its legendary toughness, off-road capability, and everyday efficiency, perfect for weekend adventures or just tackling your to-do list. And the Tundra brings serious power, impressive towing capacity, and bold design, plus the latest tech and comfort features. Whether you need a truck that's built for trails, built for work, or built for your family's next adventure, Toyota's got you covered this Trucktober. Make it easy. See your Toyota dealer today. All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. We'll go to the phones in a second. Jim was just sharing with me that Jim Rome had a take on Manny Machado's answer to the media that we played earlier. The question from Jake at CBS about how would you assess the season? Like, how would you assess it, bro?
Yeah. Would you rather have him ask you about your 208 lifetime career average in the postseason? Would you rather have that, bro?
Yeah, that was Jim Rome. It was an interesting take. I mean, it was good.
It was a complete, again, we go back, completely fair question from Jake. Now, I tend to lean like, I don't know what you want Manny to say there. I kind of understand it. And Manny did take full accountability in that presser beforehand. But yeah, Manny just, look, said just like 5 days ago, he hates the media. I mean, like, it's so stupid.
You can't really hide your true opinion,
Right.
but that's what you said 5 days ago.
Yeah, you just roll your eyes and be like, that's Manny being Manny.
Again, like I said, if you're going to win, you're going to win with that. You're winning. He's not changing.
Well, and right now you're not winning with that.
Right.
So,
and he's just finished his 7th year here. He's 34 next July. He's a 205 career postseason hitter in San Diego.
Yeah. Look, as fans, like, you know, I'm not saying that don't like Manny Machado. I think watching Manny Machado on a daily basis is amazing because there are things you're like, wow. Sometimes you take them for granted on the field.
Definitely.
You really do. And without Manny Machado, they don't get to the postseason. Like, they don't make 4 postseason appearances in the last 6 years without Manny Machado. That is a 100% fact.
Right.
But also, like, guys, let's be real here. Is Manny the guy? Because right now, I don't know. Like, he hasn't proven it. He's only getting older, and he's not, putting up these great seasons here back to back to back. This year he thought he was going to put together a great season. And it ended up being kind of just like it was a good season, and at the end it was awful.
I'm almost at the point where it's like, dude, you got to be healthy in October, which means you got to sit a lot. You got to sit a lot, like, potentially in the second half of the year.
20 games.
You're going to have to sit. You're going to have to sit to be effective in the postseason, potentially. Maybe that gives them a better chance.
Maybe.
All right, can we go to the phones here, Brent, with Adam? Adam is on line 1, and Adam wants to weigh in. 877-767-4760. Adam, you're on with Jon and Jim. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, guys, a good show.
Appreciate it.
I want to address, I also believe that it's not Preller's fault. They should extend him because he knows talent. I know some callers earlier called in whining about, he trades away all this young talent, but he restocks the system in order for him to do that. And, where are those players now? I didn't see them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Mackenzie Gore, Abrams, Wood.
Adam, appreciate it. I'm not sure if you were on a phone line that we couldn't hear you on, or if that was the end of it. I mean, Preller has an eye for talent. That's inarguable. Preller hasn't always put together the most complete rosters. Also inarguable. There's been good. It's not perfect. Neither of us have argued this is the best GM,
right,
bar none. And here's why. I've argued that I think recently here he's pointed the thing enough in the right direction that I would continue to see it through, even though we all want the same things. Yes, he hasn't taken a team to a World Series as GM. True.
We know.
I can't promise he will.
We know the formula.
Yeah.
The formula is build the farm system with talent, trade it away for proven talent.
Yeah.
And make it to the postseason.
Yeah,
right?
Get people excited for the here and now.
Yeah. Go uber aggressive. Right. Yeah. Make it. We just touched foots.
Yeah, we did. Feet, actually.
Feet. We just touched feet. Anyway, we know the formula, and the formula is not changing. And if he remains here, it's gonna be the same thing in the future. And honestly, like, I welcome it because the last 4 years, it's worked. And from like a content standpoint, like,
it's unique.
I need Preller to stay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, please do not leave AJ Preller. It's crazy. If you ask me in 2021, this guy is fired at the end of the season, gone, done. But they gave him another chance. Peter Seidler, the ultimate optimist, believed in AJ, and AJ turned it around in a big way in 2022, and he hasn't looked back.
Did Matt Is this Matt different than the Matt we just had on? Well, we had Adam on, right? All right, let's go to Matt. I'm confusing myself. 877-767-4760. Matt, you're on with Jon and Jim.
Hey guys, I called yesterday, ranting about Tatis, but I do want to go into depth about the most important thing that the Padres can do in the offseason. It's not an acquisition. It's not a trade. Preller needs to meet with Tatis and find out what is going on in his head. Because unless there's a physical injury, the fastest way that this team goes back into contention is if Tatis becomes the player that we all think he should be. I mean, Kevin Acee said earlier today, I mean, he's about to turn 27, right into the prime of his career. I'd argue in 2022 and 2023, when he got popped for the ringworm cream or whatever, that really stalled the what could have been in 2022. I mean, I'd argue if Tatis is on that squad, they could have won the World Series that year. So I think Tatis has a lot to prove on this fan base. And to be quite honest, he's lucky he plays in a market that's so friendly to him, because if he was playing in a market like Boston or New York, he'd be getting ripped, just absolutely ripped for what he did this year.
Appreciate you, Matt.
Thanks,
Good
Matt.
call. And I've always said I think he does owe them one for 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was a good team. That was in the National League Championship Series, and they did it without Fernando Tatis Jr.
There's no denying it. And if you deny it, you're blind. He is not the same player, offensively at least. He's not the same player offensively as he was pre-PEDs and the injuries.
He's got to change that.
No
That's
question.
on him. Can he do it? All right. On the other side, Chris Hajj, Sports Investors Daily, presented by TakingVegas.com. He's been great for our listeners. He's got some free picks for us coming up on the other side. Chris Hajj coming up next, Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. The American League and National League Division Series are set. Cubs will take on the Brewers. Dodgers will take on the Phillies. In the American League, Yankees and Blue Jays and Mariners and Tigers. That starts this weekend. And tonight, San Diego State starts conference play as they take on Colorado State. 7:30 kickoff time. 5:30 is when our pregame coverage starts right here on San Diego Sports 760. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage. No subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio. Get an extra 5% off.
All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Always our pleasure to have Chris Hajj, Sports Investors Daily, presented by TakingVegas.com with us. Now, Chris, we heard your podcast where you said you're dreading coming on in San Diego because you know what happened yesterday in San Diego.
Yeah, man, and you're my boys, man. I was rooting for you guys. I really was. You know, we were supposed to do our show yesterday, but no one would have listened to me yesterday. Right. You all would have watched the Padres, rightfully so. I was rooting for you guys. You know, I think you got hosed on that call in the ninth, man. And I know a series really doesn't come down to one at bat, but these umpires did such a poor job yesterday all around the place. And that's why they got the ABS coming in next year, rightfully so, because in that spot, listen, you blow a call on August 9th, no one cares. You blow a call like that in the ninth inning, you know, and it could ruin a team season, man, I have a problem with that. So, you know, good job by the Cubs, but I think you guys got hosed.
Well, at least your Yankees are moving on.
Well, listen, and my wife is listening right now, okay? My wife, this wasn't even divorce material. This was go out and bang your best friend material. This is what she did to me yesterday, wearing a Red Sox hat all around the house. Like, you can't even imagine what she's trying to pull. And this is all because when the Marlins beat the Mets, I slipped a Marlins jersey in the bed, you know, so when she pulled the sheets out, it's sort of Marlins jersey. But, like, you know, it's classless to come and wear a Red Sox jersey, a Red Sox hat. That's just a classless move. And she's listening. She knows what she did.
People buy Marlins jerseys. Well, I guess you did. And, you know, so
that was their one sale this year.
Yeah.
Chris Hajj is with us right now. Sports Investors Daily, presented by TakingVegas.com. You can hear him every Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. All right, so let's get to, again, another good week for you. You won on the free Thursday pick. You went 1-1 on the free picks on the show. But for the free picks on the show this season on San Diego Sports 760, you're 7-1. You won with the under in the Chargers game, Chargers-Giants. You did lose Georgia-Alabama, but you're 7-1 with the free picks on the show. So let's start with the free Tex pick for this weekend. You have Texas and Florida college football. How do our listeners get this weekend's free Tex pick?
Yeah, same as always. Just text the word WIN to the number 545454. Now, I've come on this show, and I've gone against Florida 3 straight times.
That's
I went
right.
against them with South Florida. I went against them with when they played LSU, and I went against them with Miami. So we're 3-0, obviously, against Florida. Tough game tomorrow, though. Obviously, Texas didn't play well in that road game against Ohio State. You really can't kill them for that because Ohio State is a great football team. But Texas really hasn't played anyone since then, and there's been a lot of, you know, talk around Archie Manning. So we'll see what happens. We believe that's a tough game, and it's a game that people want to watch, and we've done all of our research on it. So I know we're not giving anything tonight because the show got pushed back, but if you text the word WIN to the number 545454. Right now, that pick is on. That line is moving. So you want to take advantage of it right now. It was 7.5. It's got as low as Texas minus 4.5. So you want to take advantage of the line move and everything right now. Just text the word WIN to the number 545454.
All right, stay in college here. Miami FSU tomorrow afternoon. What do you got in that one, Chris?
You know, it's going to be a great game. And for the East Coast, 7:30 at night. So, you know, Doak Campbell, late night game. I think it's too big of a point spread with Miami minus 4.5. But this is crazy. And of all the free games I've given you guys on the air, this is the one I'm the least not sure about, because it wouldn't shock me if Miami won by 7. But I don't think they're going to. But it wouldn't shock me if they won by 3 either. I think it's going to be a very close, contested game. Miami hasn't seen an offense as good as Florida State's. Florida State ranks number 1 in the offense in the country in offense. They get this game at home, obviously at night,
And they're going to be a riled up bunch because they were definitely looking ahead last week when they played Virginia. They're a better football team than Virginia. They outplayed Virginia and they lost the game. And it was a definite look ahead spot for college athletes. But if you go and beat Miami, and this is the same team that beat Alabama, you write your season. The thing with Miami, and I hate to say this because the kid is a good quarterback, and I believe he's 28-3 or 29-3 in his career, which you can't sneeze at, right? But I just don't know if I trust Carson Beck in a big spot on the road, and this is Miami's first road game. In a rivalry game. I just don't trust that. I think it's going to be a very tight game. I think it's a 3-point game either which way. Don't go crazy on this one. I'm going to give you a good pick in the NFL in just a moment. But I'm going to take Florida State plus the points, and I think it's going to be a very close game.
I kind of like that. Florida State plus the points at home. Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Chris. Again, Chris Hajj taking Vegas. If you want this weekend's Texas-Florida game absolutely free, just text the word WIN to 545454. That's WIN, WIN, to 545454. Now, we learned that Jaden Daniels is going to play this weekend. Chargers coming off that loss in New York to Jackson Dart and the Giants. What's your opinion in that one? Commanders, Chargers on Sunday.
So the last 2 weeks, I've gone with the under in the Charger games, and we hit both of those. This week, I'm going with Los Angeles, and I think that they're going to beat up Washington pretty badly in this game. I really don't think this one is going to be close. A couple reasons for that. One, back-to-back road games for Washington early in the season. That's never a good thing. Two, the top two wide receivers are still out. Yes, they get Daniels back, but he's playing with a brace on his knee, and his mobility is going to be limited. Okay, that being said, they went to Atlanta last week. And now this was the same Atlanta team that could not move the ball on Carolina. I don't know if you guys remember that game. Washington did not have one play. Atlanta did not have one play in that game against Carolina that was inside the 30-yard line. Not one. And they moved up and down the field on the Washington defense. And now you get LA who, look, they played the 1 o'clock game last week, the 10 o'clock, their body clock. They got caught with a rookie quarterback making his first start, and they took the Giants lightly. Let's just call a spade a spade. They took the Giants lightly, and that is a lesson learned for them. The Chargers run the ball well, and right now Washington's pass defense is not good at all, and that just sets up big for Herbert. So you get Chargers coming off a loss. They're not going to fall to 3-2. You get Washington on back-to-back road games without their two best wide receivers, and I just think it's a very bad spot for Washington, and I believe the Chargers are a much better football team. So we're going to go with the Chargers, and I think they win the game by double digits.
So we made your podcast today, the Bet Big Talk Loud podcast. What can you tell our listeners about that, and also what else you're doing with Girls That Gamble.live?
Yeah, so that's in collaboration with Girls That Gamble.live, and those girls, man, they're doing a great job. Those girls went 6-1 last Saturday, so they're killing it. They're almost hard to compete with. They're doing a really good job. And they're good girls too. I had Allison Jordan on today. She was a Playboy Playmate in 2006 under the name Allison Waite, and what a nice girl she is. She did a great interview for us today, and she's helping out with Girls That Gamble.live as well. And the Bet Big Talk Loud podcast, we give out 2 free picks. I do that podcast with JR. He's on my Sports Investors Daily radio show that's been on with you guys every Saturday morning, I believe at 8 a.m. out there. For the last 13 or 14 years, with the exception of 1 year where we had to take off when gambling not legal in California. But wherever you get your podcast, just go check out Bet Big Talk Loud. We're giving out free picks all the time. I think it's a great interview with Allison. You guys heard it. What'd you guys think?
We only heard a portion when you were saying, man, like I'm feeling for San Diego. We only heard a portion of it, but I like the setup and everything. The sound quality, the video, everything looks great.
You and JR are
awesome.
good. You're really good.
It looks really good.
I want to have you guys on too. I know, John, you and I were talking about doing something. So love to have you guys on, and really excited about everything, especially the way it's going in this business. And I know this is going a little long, but just hear my voice on this. Everyone listening, right? Most people do not like my industry, and I get that. There's a lot of bad people in my industry, but there's a lot of bad people in many industries, right? I've pretty much made it my life's work to do my best to clean up this industry in the best way I can. When I've won, I've come on and told you I've won. You guys know more than anyone. When I've lost, I've come on and I told you I've lost. I want people to see my face. I want people to understand what we're doing. And I've said for years to treat sports wagering as an investment. Please don't gamble 3-4 games a day because you're not going to win. And now, like we've talked about on the show, you see it on Robinhood, Kalshi, you're seeing it on investment platforms.
It's going more and more that way. And when you bet single games, 3 to 4 games a week, not 3 to 4 games a night, 3 to 4 games a week, you can have success in this. And that's just what I've been preaching. And I know I make a joke about it a couple of times, but I feel like I've been validated. I feel like I've been proven right. And everyone likes that feeling. And I just want to keep it going. So we're doing some great stuff over here. And, hopefully we can keep it going this weekend with a couple of big winners.
7-1 with the free picks for our listeners so far this year. Chris Hajj, Sports Investors Daily, presented by TakingVegas.com. Again, if you want Saturday, absolutely free. Texas and Florida, just text the word WIN, W-I-N, to 545454. That's WIN, W-I-N, to 545454. Chris, always appreciate it, man. We'll do it again next Thursday, your normal slot, Thursday at 4:30 Pacific before Thursday Night Football. Have a good weekend, man.
All right. Thank you so much for having me, guys. All right. And sorry about your Padres, but hey, if you all like me, let's root for the Yankees. Let's go beat them. Let's go beat the Blue Jays and head to the World Series, maybe against your Dodgers over there that you guys don't like, and maybe we can beat them this year.
Our Dodgers.
Yeah, we're rooting for anyone but the Dodgers. Right, exactly. Anyone but the Dodgers. Thanks, Chris Mack.
All right. Have a great day.
Take care. Chris Hajj, Sports Investors Daily, presented by TakingVegas.com. Oh, I have a bit of a news flash for you two. I told Jim I'm leaving. Not permanently, I don't think, but on the other side of this break, I'm leaving.
Oh, that is a news flash.
Because there's a game at Snapdragon Stadium at 7:30, and you start doing the math on it. I need to put on an Aztec polo.
How long does
that takes 30 seconds. I need to do my hair, 30 seconds. I need to use the restroom, 1 minute. I need to wash my hands, 20 seconds. The CDC, I think,
so we're less than
longer than 20
all right, so
seconds.
less than 3 minutes right now. The game's at 7:30. It's 4:41.
I got to drive there. There's traffic. It's a Friday afternoon. That's 16 minutes potentially.
Okay,
Isn't the stadium right down the street?
It is.
Yeah, but with traffic, it could take as many as 16 minutes.
John,
I got to park.
It won't.
I got to get my credential. I got to get pronunciations from the Colorado State broadcaster. I don't know what time he goes on. He might be on at 5:30.
All right, so 30 minutes.
What are you saying?
I'm adding this up.
Do you want me to stay till 5?
Whatever you want to do, John. If you want to leave, you can leave. This is your call.
Well, okay, don't go anywhere. If you're in your car right now, you have to stay there because you're going to find out if I'm here on the other side or not.
Right, exactly.
Kevin Acee, if you missed him earlier, you'll hear him coming up at 5 p.m. We're here until Aztec pregame coverage kicks off at 5:30. And by we, I mean some of us will be here. This is Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, I'm here. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. I was compelled to stay. Peer pressure. Here for another 10 minutes.
I did nothing during the break. I literally did nothing during the break.
No,
I was on my
air.
phone.
It was on air. You're like, really? You got to go now?
Well, I was giving you crap. And
exactly.
Then at the very end, I said, do what you want to do.
Yeah,
Jon.
exactly. That's like when your mom is like, oh, you got to see. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Well, yeah, now I feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
Should have got a B.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You were trying to milk the game getting out early today.
I'm not milking the game, dude. I'm working until 11 p.m.
I know.
You're working until 5:30.
I know.
They should make you stick around and podcast or something.
You're only working till 11? Soft.
You know what?
How much longer are you here than I am?
About an hour.
Oh.
At least.
Yeah, he's a post game.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? I did that for 7 years too.
I was going to say, it hasn't been that long since you did post game that you forgot how long it is.
I had to do that when I worked Charger games. Man, those were long nights too. Those were long nights. Me and Judson. Woof. What? What are you laughing at?
I don't know. Yeah, but it also wasn't on like you weren't doing a radio show at the time. You weren't a sports talk host. You weren't doing like
No, you're right.
Thursday, let me work at noon and then stay till midnight.
Actually, I did have it. Was
no, because they play like 4 PM or something.
Yeah, and we had like a 3-hour pregame show, and I had to be here an hour beforehand to get the logs ready.
Wow.
Get things ready to go. And then 2.5 hour postgame show.
Yeah, but that was your job.
I know. I'm just saying, I understand.
This is my job too, but I'm doing 2 jobs.
Okay.
All right. Remember this? Okay. Remember when Fernando Tatis Jr., you think he had what was worse? Tatis's postseason or Tatis's decision to sign this deal when he was 18 years of age with big league advance, when he took $2 million, a check for $2 million for 10% of future earnings, which became $2 million for $34 million.
Well, we kind of now have a little clarity on this.
He owes every penny.
Yep.
According to an arbitration judge in the District of Columbia, he's been ordered to pay what he is currently owing to Big League Advance plus interest. He's already made payments to them. He had stopped payments at times. He's fought this in court in both California, and I think it's being fought in DC. And the judge has ordered he owes the amount he owes plus interest and what he hasn't owed. And he's
like
owing something like in the neighborhood of 3.7 million, which is nowhere near the total amount. He will ultimately owe Big League Advance, if this all holds up legally through the courts, $34 million for taking $2 million up front. He's argued like that the math on that doesn't math. But then again, if he never touched the major leagues, he still had the $2 million and he wouldn't have owed them a dime.
Some of the worst advice.
Just bad advice.
Ever.
Yeah. I mean, that remains a pretty confounding decision.
Yeah.
And like, you can't tell me the stuff off the field doesn't impact players on the field. I'm not saying that alone. There's a lot of other things that players deal with.
Now it is, when you're 17 years old or whenever he took it.
He couldn't do it until he was 18. He signed it at 18.
Okay. So, you're 17, 18.
He's a kid.
You're getting there. You're 18.
Yep.
Here's $2 million.
It's an amazing amount of money. Give anyone $2 million. I don't care your age. It's a crazy amount.
I'm taking it.
For 10% of future earnings, like, where do I sign up?
Yeah, you want
10%?
You're getting $20, dude.
I get $2 million.
Yeah, I get $2 million. You get $20. That's
yeah, you
perfect.
never think you're going to end up as like Pat McAfee on FanDuel getting a $100 million deal when you give up 10% of future earnings.
Right. But when you're an athlete and someone offers you $2 million for future earnings, you're like, ooh, money.
But his father spent a decade in the major leagues.
I know. He needed someone to tell him, dude, don't do it. You're not like
bet on yourself.
You're not coming from a bad family. Like you have you grew up in a family with a professional Major League Baseball player as a father.
Yeah. Did he need the money immediately for some reason? $2 million?
I don't know. But now I mean, that's just brutal. It's brutal. You go back and it's like whoever. And this isn't the first piece of bad advice that Tatis got. I mean, the PED suspension was the next piece of bad advice that he got. Whoever he went to for whatever he took.
Now, I would still argue: can you live off the other $300 million?
I think you can.
I mean, okay, so yes, bad decision, but you owe someone 34. Hey, listen, it's crazy. No one's going to ever owe someone $34 million. It's not relatable. We can't relate to owing someone $34 million. I'll gladly pay someone $34 million if I still can take home $300 million.
Right.
Like I'll make that transaction right now. I'll take $300 million to go give up $30 million. I'll do that. So I feel like he should be fine. But it was still, I mean, I can't imagine just throwing away that much money.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe that's why he was pouty. I don't know. It's hard to think that that's the reason why, but Tatis has not had a good couple last days here. That is for sure. Today, this series, shoot, he hasn't had a good 6 months.
No, you're 100% right. Can you rewind that, Brent, that what we were just watching on television for about 20 seconds? Something fun. So my buddy who calls Reds games, Jon Sadak, is calling this game between Delaware and West.
Is he really?
Keep going right here. Watch. No, keep going back like 1 second. You're going to see someone on camera that like pushes out of the way. I think. Hold on. Oh, maybe not. Watch right here when he comes back on camera.
Great for radio.
No. Somebody was like in front of the camera and then they went to them on camera.
Oh, that's good.
But yeah, that's Jon Sadak on the left.
Love you some Jon Sadak.
Anyway,
he has some time now that the Reds are out.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, it worked out well. He went from calling Reds Dodgers to calling a Delaware Blue Hens home game.
Hey man, as long as the check clears, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, how much you're gonna pay me?
Yeah,
Perfect. I'll do Delaware, Western Kentucky.
I'm on board. So yeah, but to your point, kind of a tough little stretch here for Tatis. Like the season ends in the manner in which it ended. He's like, I don't know what we're gonna do. And then today he's ordered by a judge. He owes $3.7 million to Big League Advance. We had the owner of Big League Advance on the show years ago.
That's right.
Michael Swimmer. He's the former, I don't know if he played in the majors. He certainly played in the minors. I think he briefly played in the major leagues. Honestly, though, I am not a fan, with the benefit of hindsight, of having the ability for 18-year-olds to sign away future earnings. I get it. They're adults. I mean, they can do other things. Mm-hmm. So who am I to say they can't do it? I just feel like that's a little,
like, it feels like a little exploiting of the teenager kid. Like,
it
hey,
feels it.
It's almost like it's gambling. Like, hey, take this $2 million, and then whoever, if you offer the kid $2 million, you're banking on this kid making $300 million in the future, and then it's like, we're rich. It's like, we'll lose the $2 million now to
take the 30 on
take the 30 on the other side.
Yeah. And by the way, I think he could have done it for like 1%. He could have taken 200,000 for 1%. He took $2 million.
Close to the max, or
to 10%. You know what I mean? So just a terrible decision.
Yep.
All right. If you missed Kevin Acee on the ending of another Padres postseason, you'll hear that on the other side. Here until 5:30. Aztecs in Colorado State at 7:30 with pregame coverage at 5:30. This is Jon Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live in the iHeartRadio app.
This update's brought to you by Rapid Radios. The division round is set in baseball. The NLDS, we have Phillies and Dodgers, and Cubs and Brewers in the American League, Yankees and Blue Jays, Tigers and Mariners. That all starts this weekend. And tonight, San Diego State takes on Colorado State as they get conference play underway at Snapdragon Stadium. 5:30 is when our pregame coverage starts. 7:30 kickoff time. You can hear John and Rich on the call. Rapid Radio is our instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage. No subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an Asian parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
So now, what's next?
The Cubs have won the ball game. They have won the National League Wild Card Series. Battle against San Diego.
You know, from day one, we laid it out there every day.
After a quick exit from the MLB playoffs, the Padres have to answer some hard questions.
Speculation runs wild, and we look for clarity.
Plus, the Scarlet and Black open up Mountain West play tonight versus Colorado State. Fryer, uncertainty, and Friday Night Lights.
Let's light the fusion. Kick some ass.
All live from the San Diego Sports 760 studios with Jon and Jim.
All right, final hour here on Jon and Jim. Actually, final 30 minutes of Jon and Jim. Jon is on his way to Snapdragon Stadium. Of course, Aztecs, Colorado State. Tonight, 7:30. Pregame coverage starts at the bottom of the hour. But if you missed it, Kevin Acee, he joined us earlier in the show. It's always an abrupt ending to a season if you don't win a World Series. And, no different here with the Padres. But we started our conversation with Kevin earlier today with kind of a big storyline heading into the offseason, which is, what's the future of AJ Preller?
Yes, something absolutely sensational have to happen. I mean, after every year, you have meetings, you sit down, you go over, what coaches are coming back? What can we do better? Hey, here's where I'd like to communicate better, do this or whatever. Something would have to go insanely sideways for AJ Preller to not be back.
Okay, well, let's go to now the series and this team. When you look at it, it feels like same old with the team in the regular season. It reared its ugly head in the postseason. Me and John were talking about the start of the show. I mean, these players are taking accountability, but it's the same thing they said last year. So we're sitting here like, this isn't football. There's no strategy in this. It's like, hey, we got to be better. Okay, how do you be better? Like, how does this team be better? I mean, the star players, once again, don't show up in the biggest moments.
That is true, and it's a little bit of a theme. I mean, it is, and that's a problem, especially since they're all going to be here for a while. So I don't know how to fix that. That's got to be internal, and then there also has to be the realization maybe it won't be fixed, or it will be fixed by one guy but not the other. So there's that. They've got to add some pop. Home runs win in the postseason. It was a problem all season. I gave them credit, even though they had the fewest homers of any playoff team. They had, I think, the second or third worst runners in scoring position average of any of the postseason teams. They had been better in both areas, and they had fared well enough and done well enough against good teams and good pitchers. And I've said, okay, they can do this. They can piece together this against the Cubs, against the Brewers. They didn't. This was, and I wrote it. Last year when they went 24 scoreless innings at the end, that was surprising. That was better offense. Mm-hmm. That had never happened during the regular season. This was a manifestation of what we worried would happen and what we watched happen all season. This was not surprising.
Doesn't it feel like Kevin Acee is our Padres insider? I probably said this at the end of last year. I'm like, we're going to do the same song and dance. We're going to wait 12 months, and we're going to see if they can overcome the hurdle they couldn't overcome at the end of their season in 2024. Doesn't it feel like this almost becomes more of a mental hurdle? Like the game of baseball is so mental, and now you head into 2026 that even if you get into the postseason, the exact same conversation follows this team, right? That in these huge moments, are they going to be able to come through? And it feels like some of this was like a mental burden that they were carrying with them over the last couple of days.
Sure, but the Dodgers didn't do squat for a decade after making the playoffs. Like, I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yes,
Fair.
I'm not. You can be onto something, but like, you don't do it until you do it, right?
Right.
No team had come back in this era. I just heard Jim say it, right? Until the Yankees, after losing game one of Wild Card Series, they did it. Okay, there we go. So I also think that, look, there are shifts within the culture of an organization. There are additions that are made. There are players that come into their own and become more of kind of the leader. There are, different guys have different good seasons. Look, I think there's a lot of challenges ahead, but I think there's a lot to feel good about this team. But to me, if you want to point out the big thing, I think it's the first thing that you said. And we say it during the regular season, and then it shows up huge in the postseason, especially in a short series, when the stars don't do it. And Manny Machado, look, he had a home run that basically sealed that game, right? Like, they could have won 1-0 in that game, but 3-0 with the way that their bullpen is. That Manny gets I don't know if he gets a pass, but like, that was good, right? Fernando Tatis, horrible, just absolutely horrible. There's no way around it. If he was telling the truth yesterday, then he knows it too. So he hasn't been that guy. Maybe a few home runs at the end of the season, but were those really big moment home runs? The team was headed to the playoffs, but he knows he's got to be better, and not just like the power. Like, there's got to be games he doesn't take off, and there's got to be games where he makes adjustments. He showed early in the season he could do. Last night was just horrible. The series wasn't great. When he did get on base, he scored, so that was good. But like, this is a team that is dependent on those guys. I think Ramon Laureano will be good for this team over the course of the season. Jackson Merrill healthy will be good for this team over the course of the season, and maybe in next year's playoffs if they make it. So I think they can overcome that.
What was the deal with Toddy this year? I mean, like, I know that you said, I think last time with us, or I forget when it was, and Tatis was voted the MVP of this team, played, mostly every day. Defensively, he was amazing, but his attitude, his offense, like, it just felt like there was something off with him this entire year.
Yeah, it got a little rough, didn't it? And then maybe it snowballed, and he's, this is not an excuse. He's human. Now, sometimes these guys, and one of the responsibilities when you're making $20 million and you've decided that you're going to take the statue contract, is that you don't get to act as human, okay? So there's a responsibility there. I hope you know what I'm saying. Like, I'm not trying to be insensitive to him and whatever might be going on off the field or the struggles of being a star who's not performing. I don't mean to be insensitive to that, because that's real. I've always been empathetic to that, because that is a real thing. But like, dude, you owe this team better. That is something that has to be something that changes. The team does feed off of him, and he's got to be better. Both his performance, more consistent. I believe he used the word yesterday. I'm not sure. But like, more consistent, because he is a special player. And I know for a fact that the Padres have not lost faith in that. Like, they believe that this is up to Fernando Tatis Jr., that he can still be that guy, and there can be statue, and there can be Hall of Fame numbers. That's up to Fernando Tatis Jr. You know what? 27. Is that December 31st or January 1st or 2nd, right for the turn of the year. So going into next season, 27. Now we're starting to get to serious middle of the prime, and, not all that long until we're talking about him being in his 30s. Now's the time. This has to be a reckoning for Fernando Tatis Jr. I don't mean to be dramatic, but that's the type of player he is. And so you pair that Tatis, like the Tatis he can be, with Merrill, who I think you can look back on this season and feel good about Merrill. You can. For all that he went through and the struggles, I think that you can look back and say, okay, all right, we weren't wrong. He still has a lot to prove, but like, now you've got two stars at the middle for the fading or potentially fading older guys you have, and then Ramon Laureano, and they have to go get another bat, first base or DH. Have to.
All right, Kevin Acee is our Padres insider, is with us right now on Jon and Jim. So among your orders of business is to get a bat. They're obviously there's going to be a lot of payroll freed up here. Where do you list these priorities this offseason? Clearly, Dylan Cease, Michael King, Luis Ariz. I mean, there's going to be so much movement here. What are some of the first orders of business for AJ Preller this offseason?
Well, they'll all happen with AJ like in February. So first orders of business, I don't know what those are, but to me, the pitching's a given, right? Like you need a couple starters. What's Yu Darvish going to do? Even if Yu Darvish comes back, how many games is he going to pitch? And so you need 2-3 starters, right? I think it's nice. Hey, I got faith in Joe Musgrove. Randy Vasquez, nice number 3. I'm talking about, and then obviously Pavetta. I'm talking about get yourself a 2, a 3, a 4, but that's like a given. So to me, the bat, and I'm talking home run hitter. I'm talking a guy that can slug. I don't know what you're not going out and get Pete Alonso. I doubt that. But you got to, and it's AJ Preller. That's his job, and he's good at it. So find someone.
Why? I guess, this is obviously revisionist, and you look at this and it's hindsight here now. They chose Yu Darvish over Michael King for game 3, and we saw Michael King pitch beautifully out of the bullpen. 19 pitches, struck out the side. Darvish obviously not good at all. Was there anything there with King, with the health or anything, or was it just a simple, we felt better with Darvish there in game 3 over Michael King? Was there anything there why they went Darvish over King?
King's consistency, evidently, not to, we all didn't necessarily notice it or think this was such an issue that it should have been him. I mean, I was saying all day to anyone that would listen, I was very concerned about Darvish. Now, it didn't get as bad as it could have, right? They actually survived that pretty well for as bad as it was. They survived Darvish pretty well. Now, it put them in the real pickle with having to cover 8 innings, and it put Jeremiah Stroud in a pickle. But I was thinking the guy could give up 3 runs in the first or something like that. But I'm with you. I didn't see it. They didn't think that King had the consistency of the delivery and the command, and that he could really have gotten in trouble as well. And I guess we'll never know since he pitched 1 inning. And I don't have an answer for you. Sorry. I couldn't be in 3 places at once yesterday, and I don't have an answer for you why King only pitched 1 inning. That, to me, is one of the things. I think it's down the list, but I don't understand how that happened yesterday.
Do you think Yu Darvish has pitched his last pitch in the major leagues?
I think it's extremely possible, and I thought that this was the final. I thought it was very possible this was the final year since spring training. I don't think anything changed that. I think it speaks volumes that Yu has never, in the last 3 weeks, when asked about, when asked leading questions, has never balked at, the idea that this could be it. No one is saying that it's it, but I mean, for a year now, people that know have acknowledged that it could be any time. Look, even if he comes back, are we talking 15 starts again? At this point, and this is educated speculation. This is not anyone telling me this. I'd put the money on it, on his career being over. But here's the deal. The guy loves baseball. Maybe they work out something. I don't know. But that, because no one can expect that he's going to give you 25 starts anymore. So maybe they work out something. I don't know. But, yeah, it's something that it's one of these storylines of the offseason, because both what he can give you for however long he can give you, if he can find a way to, repeat and be the same pitcher for more than 1 inning, but also $16 million and, of course, the 48 over 3 years.
Final one for me, Kevin. The culture, this is on Mike Shildt. The culture that he has created, yes, 90 wins consistently, making the postseason. That is great. There's no denying that. Past Padres teams would love to make the postseason in back-to-back years. But there is a stubbornness. There is a culture of, at least publicly to the fans and to the media, of not much accountability when guys are struggling. Is there need for changing this culture that Mike Shildt has created, where it just feels like, the Arise issue with him in the 2-hole all year long just never got addressed. The stubbornness of Mike Shildt to change things when things are going wrong. The stubbornness of Mike Shildt to not maybe hold guys accountable. Did you think that needs to change?
I would ask some questions and I will try to answer it as well as I can. I know we're in limited time here. I'm just wondering. I think I know, but this is a loaded question for me. You must understand this, both because I'm working on this myself, and also you're asking me to call out certain people. You mean like he needed Tatis to do something? He needed Manny to do something. These types of things, he should have been more accountable, or he should have held them more accountable. In addition to his stubbornness, is that what we're talking about?
A little bit from the standpoint, I remember earlier in the year, he was asked a question about Toddy or Manny when they were struggling, and he just was like, everything's fine. And it's like everyone rolls their eyes, and you're like, Mike, what are you watching here? And then the stubbornness of not changing the lineup.
I always want to caution that everything is addressed to some extent. I'm not saying it's adequate. I don't, some I hear and some I don't, but everything's addressed privately. Mike is simply not going to, and there's very few people in the world more frustrated by it, because I see what other managers are able to do to give the media and fans some information without betraying their players or their organization's aim. And Mike is incapable of it, and it's infuriating to me, but let's get over it, okay? It doesn't mean that Mike isn't holding guys accountable. On the other hand, yes, I believe, and this is based on discussions with people, there does need to be more. And also, I believe that some of that falls on the players. This is a player's game.
Yeah.
It's a player's game. Manager, Mike Shildt probably makes, I don't know exactly. I'm thinking based on what I knew that he made and all this where he falls in, no more than $2 million, which is 1/15 of what Manny Machado makes. This is a player's game. Manny and some others. This is on them. There needs to be that accountability as well. And there needs to be that. And maybe there's some guys in that clubhouse that are about to do that. I don't know. We'll see. But it's not like there's days of he's not Earl Weaver. He's not Billy Martin. He's not Joe Torre even. How about we take a look at the players?
Oh, good luck.
I'm not exonerating him, but take a look at the players.
Players don't change. Kevin, we appreciate all the reporting all season long. Great job. Thank you so much for hopping on as often as you have here on Jon and Jim. Take a vacation, please. Do something for yourself.
All right.
All right, there's Kevin Acee putting a bow on the 2025 San Diego Padres. We'll obviously talk to Kevin more in the off season, but not on a as regular basis as we did there. Of course, we're going to hear from, Mike Shildt and AJ Preller this off season. We'll see what happens with AJ. I know Kevin is pretty adamant that AJ will be returning. We'll see. Final year of his deal. We'll see. All right, coming up next, we'll get you ready for San Diego State, Colorado State. Pregame starts at 5:30. Stay right here on Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey guys, it's Jim from Jon and Jim for the all-new Jamul Casino, the Players Place. The next level of luxury has arrived. Treat yourself to a stunning new stay, rooftop relaxation, indulgent spa treatments, and the thrills of Jamul Casino Resort, now all in one unforgettable destination. You can savor San Diego's ultimate endless dining experience at Jamul 23, from their world-famous lobster brunch served every morning to the luxurious VIP endless dining experience each evening. Indulge in chef-curated specialties, fresh seafood, prime cuts, and decadent desserts, all with stunning panoramic views. The all-new Humul Casino Resort, the Players Place. All right, final stop here on Jon and Jim. We have a pregame coming up next here at 5:30. Of course, 7:30 is when we have kickoff, San Diego State and Colorado State. So the division series are set this weekend. It gets started this weekend, I should say. And if we did have a back page today, this would have been on my back page. Phillies and Dodgers get underway in Philadelphia this weekend. Go Phillies. Like, can't stress this enough. Go Phillies.
Anybody but Dodgers.
Exactly. Well, I mean, you got the Cubs. You got rooting for it.
Well, yeah, I'm going to root for them, but
yeah,
and they're included in anybody but the Dodgers.
Correct. Did you see that the Phillies are doing a 9x9x9 challenge? You know what that is? A 9-9-9 challenge.
It's like when you eat 9 hot dogs. You have to eat like a hot dog and drink a beer in like every inning, right?
It's 9 hot dogs, 9 beers, and you have to finish it in 9 innings. And you can do that at a Phillies game this weekend. But here's the thing. People are saying the challenge doesn't look that hard. Because it's like
doesn't sound very hard.
Because it's like mini hot dogs. Like, it doesn't look like they're regular size hot dogs. Maybe they are regular size, but still 9 hot dogs and 9 beers and 9 innings. I mean,
unless you get,
don't give it to Joey Chestnut.
Unless you get like a super fast moving game to where, it's like every inning is 1, 2, 3. And like the pitcher's only throwing 15 pitches every inning. Yeah. Then it might get kind of challenging, but it takes about a little under 90 minutes to do about 3 full innings of baseball. You're telling me you couldn't drink 3 beers and eat 3 hot dogs in 90 minutes?
Yeah, I couldn't personally do it.
I think I could do it.
Do
you get something if you do it?
You know what? I didn't fully look into it because I knew we were going to have a back page today because of the short show. But it's just a challenge. I don't think you get anything from it. I think it's just, hey, complete the challenge and maybe you don't have to pay for it. I don't know. I'll have to look more into it. But at the same time, thinking about the division series and everything that goes with it, a little tough right now because the Padres aren't in it. And the schedule came out today, and games 3 and 4 would have been next week here at Petco Park, at least game 3. And we had things lined up. We had things ready to go. We had things planned. And it all came to a crashing halt. And now we just have to hope the Dodgers don't win it again. Right? Because if they do, that just makes things even worse.
I don't know if they will though this year. I feel good that there's a lot of teams out there that can beat them.
I do too. I don't feel like they're this juggernaut team, like not even a juggernaut team like last year. They just were just, it was the Padres and the Dodgers. Those were the two best teams in baseball. It was one of those teams who was going to win the World Series, and Dodgers went on to win it. So, all right, coming up next, our Aztec pregame show. Fletch, he's at the stadium. He's going to get you ready for Aztecs in Colorado State at 7:30 tonight. Again, thanks to Brent, thanks to John, thanks to Kevin, thanks to Greg Camarillo for joining us today on Jon and Jim. Aztecs pregame show coming up next right here on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.